Okay, this is a meeting of the Hanson Recreation Department. It is 5:57 p.m. on November 4th, 2019. In attendance are John Zuko, Vice Chair.
Brian Frizzetti.
John Frizzetti.
Melissa Scarchuzzi.
Judy Hartwig.
Bill Boyle.
And in attendance also is Matt Tyre from the Hanson Board of Selectmen. First item is everyone had a chance to read the meeting minutes from October 21st.
Here they are going around.
Sign these. So I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Approve the minutes of the 10/21.
John Frizzetti has motion to approve. Second by Brian Frizzetti. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the minutes are approved. We are all signing them. Next we have our Recreation Director update.
All right. Well, part of the update was going to be handing over the floor to our town administrator, who is not here yet. So we will.
Is that the acting town administrator?
Yes. So what we can do, I guess, in terms of event updates, so in that slew of paperwork you have, we have the concert from 8/16, Haley Sabella and Company. So there is the quick breakdown of everything. With there, you have the invoices, you have the turnovers, the cut of the bar. So in total, we made just under 26 bucks. Woo!
Just under 26?
Yeah, so it cost us 1,200. We brought in 1225.80.
That's right. Where is that located?
It's in the pile.
It's the first page of what he gave you. Yeah.
It's in the middle there somewhere. Yeah, I think they're in no particular order. They're just-
Is William Bar?
What?
Who's William Fuller?
That's the bar service. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you.
Okay. Inside that, sorry.
So yeah, we had, door sales, unit pay, we had the grant, and then the cut of the bar. So all in all,
Do we have a count? How many total do we have? People? Do we know?
that attended,
Yeah.
it was close to 60. I don't know the exact number. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you go through, you can count there's the list of ticket numbers and then the unit pay.
Yeah.
And then there were a few people that, whether they were affiliated with the band or whatever, that,
Yeah.
kind of green room passes, so to speak. That doesn't go there. So yeah, not a bad concert. We don't have an update on the cornhole tournament because the guy hasn't sent me the invoice. We also won't know about the bar split. We usually get an update from them. It looks like about once a month, so we'll get an October statement from them, and then we'll know what we made on the bar. We had 5 teams. The winning team ended up being the Style Boys, which happened to consist of my friend Mike and me. So, first annual in the books.
It was rigged.
No, I mean,
Are they conflict of interest?
we were even playing with, the opposite hand. No, I'm just kidding. But it was a good time. We got some good feedback, and even one of the library trustees had reached out to ask about it because in the future they may actually look to maybe team up with us and run another tournament. So that would just help us, get a bigger feed.
I must mention that former Selectman Bruce Young has joined us in the audience.
All right. Going down the line. So capital improvement plans and the 2020 budget. So obviously tomorrow being Tuesday, I'm going in to sit with Todd. We'll be going over on the capital improvement side, I'll probably reach out to Anne Marie a little bit more, because I know that she was instrumental in putting some of those things together, the things that are already in the capital improvement plan, so I'm gonna work with her a little bit too, just to, get a little guidance on that, in terms of the budget. So I'll be working with Todd to put the numbers together. Obviously, you guys have what numbers I was able to provide. You can certainly give input, but historically, the director, department head works with the town accountant, and then I will bring what he and I have come up with, and then you guys can look at it and say, I don't like this, I like that, and we'll go from there. But, yeah,
It's actually the 2021 budget, not
2021, yeah.
Okay, but it's on here as 20, I just want to make that correction so that when we go there, we have the right.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, he and I, yeah. So yeah, I mean, the capital improvement stuff, the few things that are on there, again, one of them's for widening the parking lot, one of them's, you know, the caretaker's cottage. So I mean, we have the ability to either pull those out and put new items in, just add to it. I'm gonna see if, at least on some of them, if we're able to do some things in conjunction. So like with the widening of the parking lot, maybe we can also look at, because I think it was specifically for the Cove parking lot, but maybe we can expand upon that to do both parking lots, because even when we get events up here, that parking lot fills up quickly. Same with the bridal cottage lot, so there's probably some things that we may even just be able to add to what's already in the matrix, and then, yeah, I think the one that probably should be pushed off even longer is the caretaker's cottage. Because
Isn't that a historical property? 'Cause remember we got a quote of like 250,000 to
Yes.
renovate that, do the,
Yeah, it's pretty.
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's definitely part of the historic registry or what have you, so we probably would be able to qualify for some grant funding for that.
Mhm.
I've been looking, because it wasn't part of the study when they looked at all the buildings for the camp. I was looking through all the books, so I think they just felt that it was kind of beyond the scope of what they wanted to look at, so
Well,
if and when we decide, we'll have to have somebody come out and look at it, because I haven't been in there, but my understanding is that,
It needs
It-
like
it
paper,
needs-
septic, it's.
Yeah, that was a whole separate entity.
Yeah, I think
It's not allowed
foundation.
to do that because that was historical, and then there were talks about grants, so we kind of kept that out of the
Yeah.
matrix.
yeah, because I think the foundation too is gonna need to be looked at and possibly repaired, and I mean,
The plumbing and all.
yeah, so there's a lot just in that building alone that needs to be done, when really the focus should be up here anyway, between the lodge and the cabins. Because again, the lodge is what makes the place money, so we need to focus there and then branch out as we get more settled.
Can you tell me what's in that capital improvement as far as, other than the parking lots, is there anything else?
That's the only thing that takes up sheet there.
It's the parking lot expansion, I have it in the,
Yeah, right there.
yeah, I didn't put it with everything just because,
Just want to know if there's any talk about kitchen renovations or stoves in the same.
Was that in our business plan?
we took
Was that in
the one
The kitchen
fireplace out of there and put it into the frontier cabin. So that's been removed, but we did mention somewhere along the line, there is a schematic about what has to be done to the caretaker's house. There is I know Diane had looked into it at one time, she had, I think, historic commission, she was gonna do a grant on it, but that was when she didn't, had to learn about grants, and
Yeah.
some of the things would be very extremely costly, but you'd have to redo the kitchen, you have to take down the cabinets, the floor is muffled, I know there's a split in the back of the house on the
Yeah.
cement, so I mean, there's a lot of things, but there is somewhere, I didn't bring it, because I didn't think that we would be discussing that part of it, and I didn't know what was on that matrix you were talking about.
yeah, I think there's only 3 things on there. One of them's the caretaker's cottage, one is parking lot expansion, I believe the other one's tree removal, which,
No, it's enlarged waterfront.
that's, okay,
Yeah, that's this part here.
so that's not even in reference to the code, that's actually,
Not that I'm aware of, you can double check on that, but
Okay.
as far as I know, it's to enlarge, they were supposed to.
down by the
put in a-
boathouse.
Yeah, they were supposed to actually, with the Netflix put in that one.
The dock here,
down
yeah.
there, yeah, well, that's what they're supposed to do, is put a waterfront down in there.
So for something like that, that may be something that we can look at in piggybacking, so enlarge waterfront, but maybe we could say waterfront and cove, and, okay, yeah, parking lot expansion, enlarge waterfront.
Can I ask that these capital improvement, for the budget request, is this going to in a way affect how much is gonna affect our budget next year in terms of how much we earn? Is it gonna go against us, is it in terms of expenses?
No, because it goes
it's
to
an
the,
enterprise, I mean,
it goes to the capital improvement committee and they decide.
So it's not gonna affect our bottom line in terms of like.
No, the budget and capital improvement,
Okay.
they're separate,
Okay,
yeah.
good, I wanted to clarify that because that's quite a bit.
Yeah, so from what I get, and again, learning more about it, learning through it, yeah, it's more, they'll look at all the projects that have been submitted and they kind of prioritize what needs to be done over other things.
It's the amount of money that you spend for camp staff recommendations, cove staff recommendations, the money you spend, clerical support recommendations, recreation director recommendations, program staff recommendations. I've got the one that was worked on last year for 2020, so it's all broken down. You've got electricity recommendation, natural gas recommendation, it's all broken down. This is the paper that the ex-rec director worked with Josh for the 2020 budget.
Okay.
Okay, that should be in the file.
Yeah, so with what I was able to,
See you.
and I mean, I can send this, so I have, again, the form that you guys got for the budget, so really that just outlines, so it shows what the 2019 expenditures was, what were the 2020 appropriations. I have the breakdown of everything here, so I mean, I'll pass it around. I didn't make copies of it because honestly, I made so many copies today. I know that Green Hanson,
You forgot which one.
well, no, Green Hanson's gonna be all over me for killing trees, so
Maybe we'll just mill the ones that we're trying to knock down, you know.
yeah, I have two different things. So we've got salaries and indirect costs, so this literally breaks down from July 1 so far what's been spent. Same with this one, these are operating expenses. So it literally goes through everything. So if you want, you're more than welcome to pass that around and hurt your brain because there's a lot of numbers on there.
Some of these numbers aren't specific to Camp Kiwanee, so it's very hard to kind of.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
This is all Camp Kiwanee right here?
This is all, yeah, since July, a lot of it's,
Okay, wait a minute, let me see.
What date do you have on the top of
this is
that?
from July 1
To when?
to what looks like,
June 30th.
well, it's to date because it's set at June 30th of next year.
No, I'm saying the all-county expenditure report, it should be from July 1 to now. You don't have that
Well,
one?
right, that's what this is, but the,
10-11.
the date's set for June of next year, just so it's got the most recent numbers possible on what Juby's looking at and what's going around. In terms of what I emailed over,
And pass it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
that was as of, because it was printed out at
I got one.
October 29th. So the one form that was emailed around was printed out on the 29th. These were printed out on the 31st, so it's, I mean, these are the most up-to-date that we have.
Because the one I have is from 7/1 to 10/11.
What day are you meeting with what?
Tomorrow. And then possibly, depending on how the meeting goes tomorrow, possibly the next Tuesday.
And my question with this whole system is generally, we're given this stuff well in advance so we can go over it. If we have things planned, like Brian has things during the course of the year you might have on facilities, John might have something to do with events, as Melissa does. I might have something to throw in the mix, which would, kind of move the whole budget around.
Sure.
Generally, you come up with that first, then go to Todd, then Todd says, here, there, you can go up or down or whatever you want. And then it comes back to us after Todd looks at it.
Well, again, we don't have to vote on it till the 18th, because it doesn't have to be until the 22nd.
Right.
So we've got another 2 weeks. You have the information there, so please submit some numbers and stuff, but again, as the department head, and I've talked to Mary on this, it's my role to work with Todd on the budget, bring that to you guys, and then, yeah, you can say if you've got stuff from the facility side or whatever, then say, okay, I don't like this number, we can change it. But we don't need to do that till the 18th, so we still have well over 2 weeks, or 2 weeks to do that.
So in a sense with the budget, we're looking at projected revenues against expenses that were incurred last year and probably maybe 3 to 5% bump. Is that kind of?
Yeah, I mean, in talking with Todd, I figured roughly not increasing everything by 2%, but looking at that, because again, there's some things that, like, for example, looking at what was appropriated for building repairs. So the 2020 appropriation was 11,000, and 2019 we spent 7,300. So there's areas, and then again, that one I don't think we necessarily need to
I would,
bump that one up, because we can look at contracted services and maybe look at bumping that one, because we were only appropriated 15,000 this year, and last year we spent just under 20,000. So like things like that where we kind of got undercut on that one, those are the areas where I'm gonna look to, increase those. But there's some where it looks like, again, we were playing very safe and really overshot on, what was appropriate for 2020. And, like with office supplies, we appropriated 5,000 and we spent a little over 2,500. So that one, I don't think we're gonna need to put 5,000 on the line item for office supplies in it, for the 21 budget. So I mean, stuff like that, general rule of thumb is if the number needs to go up, we're probably looking at around 2% or so, but there's somewhere it can either remain whatever it was set at last year, or we might be able to trim that down to, again, put it in a different line item.
I'm just concerned with that, the debt that has come off of us. Let's take advantage of that and put it into the facility and not into the buildings or the cabin, the lodge or the cabins, because now that's kind of off of us. We've been very conservative in regards to improvements, because we never had money.
Right.
So that's where I have some concerns about, maybe we should bump up some things in regards to, building and contracted services, because we never did anything, because we were always under the gun.
Yeah, and I think we definitely do that. I think we just need to be cautious that we don't bump things too much,
Yeah.
because
Concern.
again, everything's gotta go back to FinCom, and, we live and die by FinCom, so if we present them something that they're very unhappy with, it's gonna get whittled down anyway. So yeah, I certainly think that, we have to be cognizant that there's repairs and things that need to be done, and so we'll look to fund those lines in the budget and scale back on things that, because again, do we need $5,000 for office supplies? Probably not. So,
Brian, do you have more of a guesstimate of like what monies you think we'd be happy with in terms of like capital improvements? Do we have kind of a figure that we can throw out there?
Well, there's some, it depends on what we encounter with the roof, which I think we should have the 10,000, but I'm talking about the kitchen, that's my concern, as to what monies could be available for us to repair what we have presently, or if there are $15,000 to $20,000 we can get our hands on, maybe we can do a bit of renovation in that area. So that's my concern, even though we're saving that 50, I know we're not gonna get it all back in building improvements.
So we could at least ask for, are you looking at, I'm hearing some numbers from you, are you looking at 25,000 at least?
Roughly, yeah.
For the roof, for the kitchen, that's minimal, right?
Minimal.
So we're looking at least 25,000. So that's kind of a starting point.
True, and then marketing expenses that we've.
Yeah, but it's a good thing to come in there with a number,
Yeah,
a viable number, and try, to fight for that.
okay, but we've already got a $25,000 grant that we have to use that Josh Cutler got us. And that's supposed to, that would be a good place to put it, would be the roof and the kitchen, and that would,
see, that there's the confusion there, is what can we use that grant for, is that specific?
it was deemed as general improvements.
Right.
There was not specificity for the kitchen and the stove, but again, he knows that that's one of the
Big thing.
pain points for us is that area, so, the other crux of that whole situation over there, most of that is not up to code. So what I've been trying to find out, and it's still floating out there, I don't have the definitive answer, is if we just do repairs, we may not have to bring things up to code. If we were to do a full replacement, that's when everything has to be brought up, and that's where, say, a $20,000 stove becomes a $100,000 project, because there's everything that needs to be done around it.
And that's not the intent. The intent is to fix the pilot first and then look at stove repairs. But the pilot in and of itself has to be addressed.
We're taking a look at some basic things. I mean, instead of like full-on renovation, let's just make it so that it's a functioning, safe kitchen at
That's
this
the
point.
intent
I mean,
first.
that's got, because then we'll find ourselves kind of in the same conversation, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, the
So
biggest
just
thing too with
let's
that
get
stove is
step
that the flat tops, so those are cracking everything. I mean, again, when it rains, if it falls onto those, I mean, it's gross.
But the first thing is to get the pilot system working, because you can't use the stove now because the pilot system is not operational. The fire department won't even use it for their breakfast, they bring their own electric griddles in.
Well, that's what
So
we're,
therefore, you have to get the pilot part taken care of first. So you need to have someone that's knowledgeable with gas.
Well, I'm waiting on the plumbing and gas inspector to get back to me. So I reached out, I spoke with Anne Marie earlier, and so she's putting me in contact with him. Hopefully come out, look at everything and say, okay, if you do X, Y, and Z, here's what it's gonna cost. But now if you're ripping it out and you're doing an overhaul, again, it goes from this much money to,
Does it have to go out to bid too? Does it, is it? 'cause that's a mess.
if it,
If
in all likelihood, because it's gonna be so much money, yes, we're gonna have to get,
A bid?
once we figure out what we're gonna do, we're gonna have to get 3 bids on it, cause it's gonna be over $10,000, easy. John, I think you got.
we're gonna get creative with that. As far as, you contract certain things out, you stay on the thresholds.
Can it be done within like, the budget period? Because then we get into a situation where, it's going to be moved to the following year. I mean, is
It always
it
is
plausible
going
to
to.
get done in that period so that we don't have these, conversations year after year? I feel like if it doesn't get done in that budget period, it'll transfer over to the following year and then we're messing other, monies in. So I think,
The infrastructure could get.
I mean, can we,
Well, I mean, if we're forecasting kind of what we're gonna need for building repairs, contracted services, knowing that's one of the bigger ticket items, and again, we're addressing things, so hopefully,
I
like,
love that.
the HVAC, we're not gonna have to deal with that for a little bit, so money that would have necessarily been spent on that, now as we look at 2021 and 2022, the money that we're not gonna spend on that, because it's fine, can now kind of be geared toward, again, that project. And specifically that project, I don't think is something that we can tackle within one budget year, just because it's an the enormity of it, and I didn't realize, I just thought it was okay, we can, find a second-hand commercial stove, replace it, maybe 10, 12 grand, but no, it's not realizing that we have to make sure all the gas lines are properly to code. There's gotta be a sprinkler system in the duct, or in the hood.
Axle system.
I don't even think that hood, my understanding is that's gonna be a very time-consuming and expensive project.
I'm wondering though, guys, in terms of just getting, getting something done.
Getting
next
something
year.
done is to get the pilot work done, fix the griddle, and just call it a day for now until we get somebody in here to look at the whole process and then talk about a major improvement. But in the interim, we can get the pilot done, fix the existing, get it cleaned, and then we can.
Just so that it's
It's
functional.
functional,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, I think that's, we need to
That's
get
the
that done,
direction.
because we're gonna be held up, and then all the other improvements that you guys have been talking about are just going to keep, stay in line. I feel like the kitchen has been such a cloud for like years, and nothing's being done, so it'd be great to have just one thing done, not the breadth of the project, but just that one thing, so that we can have some improvement.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
gotta be
that,
some activity, guys.
I mean, the silver lining is the electric oven works.
That part, but that should be.
And then half of the gas one, so the two-tiered black gas oven there, I believe it's the top part works, but we can't keep the pilot on the bottom one lit. And then the same with the stove itself, keeping that pilot going for the flat top, that's obviously an issue. I don't even think you can use the actual oven. If it does work, I still probably wouldn't wanna cook in it, just.
Does that hinder our like weddings at any point? Like, does that turn off caterers so that it affects our sales for the late, you know?
I don't think, no, because a lot of times too, when, through the wedding process, when people come and look and, I mean, they fall in love with the place and they book, and then it's up to when they pick their caterer,
Yeah.
it's up for them to figure it out. So I mean, they are able to utilize some of what's in there, and more often than not, they also bring their own equipment. Like I know a lot of times there's caterers that bring their own flat tops and things, so.
Yeah.
A lot of times I've seen them cooking out, in like the loading area for the stage, like they'll set up out there, they'll cook and then have the chafing dishes and do that. So I mean, they find ways around it. But at some point it would be nice to have a fully functioning facility that they literally could leave everything at home and have everything they need there.
I think it's just more attractive, you know?
Oh,
Just
it's most definitely.
So let's just, if we can just have that, are we gonna be happy? We're gonna be happy with that, right? So that's what, if we can,
We have to get them functional.
Wasn't Laura Kemet's husband gonna?
Yeah, I need the
No,
numbers.
he is not allowed to actually, because of her position with the town.
Yeah,
So that
but
is
did
a-
he give you a contractor's name? Do you have that?
I don't have I've been trying to reach out to him, I haven't heard back. I do know that there's the potential that, I know he doesn't work for the town anymore, so I don't believe it's a conflict, is Chris Fennessy.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him now.
So I believe, and actually, I was CC'd on an email through him that, was kind of talking about the stove, so I think he either has the ability to, or he may have a crew that can, and where he's not affiliated with the town anymore, there's no conflict there. Because that's what I didn't realize several meetings ago when I reached out to John.
Cause he volunteered. That's
Yeah.
great.
And you can be a licensed plumber to work with gas, right?
Yeah,
And
Yes.
you need to file a permit.
And he was giving us a good deal.
yeah.
To get back to this budget, are we getting any type of extension on this at all? Because, all right, today's the 4th, you meet with Todd on the 5th, which is fine, great. We got, well, I don't have any paperwork on this end of the table, but in the interim, we go over what we think we may need, add, subtract, go back and forth and whatnot. We can even get on the 18th. On the 18th, you're gonna be asking for a vote, but if we come back with changes or whatever, that means you have to go back to Todd again in order for us to take a vote on it. That's gonna push us back another 2 weeks. That's why I say this is kind of backwards. Yes, it is.
Well,
direct-
you
direct draw.
guys got everything right after I did, because it came out, I'd say right around probably the 24th or 25th, somewhere in there. So it's not like I got the stuff and then held it back. I mean, we're all on the same timeline.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if Todd comes up with something and we come up with more, we're at a dead heat, because I'm not gonna vote to move forward. Like if I wanna add something and Todd doesn't have that in his line budget to be there, why would I vote for it, you know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying,
So we're
Again,
kinda
in the
stuck on
interim,
the same team.
because again, I get the emails from you guys, so I know you work on this stuff outside of meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Send me what you have. I'll have the Tuesdays that I can meet with Todd. When I have numbers from it, I'm sure that I can take something and email it out to you guys and get some feedback, and then go back to Todd. But again, at the end of the day too, we don't want to beat a dead horse. He's the town accountant because he does this for a living,
And that's
so
fine, but
he'll
we're,
be able to advise us in the best manner possible to get the right numbers.
he can
and I-
advise us on the dollars, but if we have new concepts, new things coming up, we got a lot of facility stuff coming up that.
But again, we can't
target.
tackle everything in a year.
No, you can't, absolutely not, but we may want to slide 10 grand from one line to the next line, and I know a lot of these are interchangeable, we can move around, but, if Brian says, well, I want to do this, and this for facilities, but you know, it comes out on the 12th, and Todd's, I don't know, again, you can probably meet with Todd on the 12th, because he's there on Tuesdays, right?
Yeah.
That's fine if we get his figures together by then, but if he can't, then again, we're gonna reach a deadlock on the 18th, and where he has to throw what he thinks he wants to add to the line in there. It has to back to Todd again, which then throws you to the 19th, which is past kind of the point you've given us.
I was gonna say, if we get to the point, maybe we have to call a special meeting.
Yeah, what about, yeah, so we don't
Is
vote,
that-
let's not vote on it then. Just-
I almost felt like I felt that, yeah,
Just,
I'm not chairing this meeting, so.
I'm not chair, sorry.
John, you got, I guess, a question from Bruce?
Bruce, we have a question. Go
Well,
ahead.
no, just an observation.
Yeah.
The budget process is really a multifaceted process,
Mhm.
which really begins here with the recreation director as the department head and the recreation commission giving input to him. And then if he's gonna sit down with Todd to prepare the budget, also at some point in time, the recreation director being the department head also sits with whoever the new town administrator is going to be, because the new town administrator is going to make recommendations on your budget as well, each and every budget line within those budgets. You understand what I'm saying? So not only is he going to meet with the town accountant, but at some point in time, he will be meeting with the town administrator. You look at the budget lines within the budget that's prepared for town meeting, you have several recommendations. You have the department head, you have the recreation commission request, or the department head request. And then you have another line that says the town administrator recommendation. And then after the town administrator makes his recommendations, it goes to the finance committee. Then you have the finance committee recommendations. At the time you sit with the finance committee, there should be a couple members, or however many members of the recreation commission want to sit with the department head and the financial, and with the finance committee, going through each and every line item of your budget that's going to be recommended by the finance committee. So it's a lot more multifaceted than just the recreation director sitting with the town
So there's
accountant.
this flexibility,
What's that?
there's flexibility, there's
Yeah.
room to connect.
But before the time you get from the town accountant, sitting with the department head, by the time you get to town meeting, there's all those other meetings in between, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we,
And that happens to each, not just to you, but to each and every department within the town, that happens. And then at some point, actually, in accordance with the Town Administrator Act, the town administrator has to come back to the Board of Selectmen and get a recommendation on all of the line items and all of the budgets, so that the Board of Selectmen can also have a recommendation. Because you have recommendations by the town administrator, recommendations by the Board of Selectmen, recommendations by the finance committee, in addition to your request. So all those different things.
so we have lots of, I think we have flexibility, so we trust that.
They're making it too simple.
I do.
So that means everybody.
Guys, everybody has this packet.
So, and I apologize, so actually in your package, you had the capital improvement stuff. I just realized, going through mine, that, yeah, there's three right there.
Any more discussion on the 2021 budget?
We're doing well, guys, 30 minutes in,
Anyone else?
closing at 8, right? Keep moving.
On to new business.
So,
Let's keep going.
Hanson Green Movie Night.
okay,
Green
so,
Hanson, actually.
so movie night, so they are requesting, requesting lawn to be donated for the movie night. It looks like, yeah, it looks like just having the lodge donated, so it doesn't mention anything about, donating cost of caretaker as well. So we would need a motion to approve the donation of the lodge for the Hanson, or Green Hanson Movie Night on February 29th, 2020, from 6 to 9 p.m. with a 5 p.m. setup time.
They're not considered a nonprofit. They don't have a 51 fee. They have to pay for the caretakers that are on for that night.
Well, it says they're nonprofit, yeah, it doesn't mention anything about, not paying for the caretakers. I believe they're just looking for the lodge donation, not the caretakers.
Whatever the proceeds go to, whatever the proceeds go to.
They're not
I just get this, I don't-
501(c)(3), they use the supplemental, some other kind of social supplemental if needed, but they do have an ID number, a federal ID number, so they are registered that way, but they're still, they can, the donation of the lodge is fine, but they still have to pay for the caretakers.
Yeah, it's not, there's no mention of getting free caretakers, it's just the donation of the lodge.
Do they know that they have to pay for the caretakers? Sorry.
Yes,
That's
part of the policies. and
I'm
procedures.
pretty sure.
No, I'm just asking, whoever, I mean, I'm not a part of Green Hanson anymore, but I'm not sure if they realize the depth of what they're asking for. I don't know if they're asking for just a lodge and thinking that the lodge comes with the caretaker or vice versa. Because my
I'm
guess
about
would be,
80% sure that they know they have to pay for caretakers,
Okay.
but again, where I didn't speak with them on this, I don't know for sure.
I didn't get into depth on that, I just did ask about whether they had a 501(c)(3), so, I mean, secret, whatever it is. Let's get that number back.
But we can still make it accept a motion, right, of the way
With
it's
the-
written, so that as long as they know they're paying for caretakers,
With the
if it needs to
stipulation.
come back, then we can bring it back for a vote,
Right.
right, yeah.
Can you do that with the stipulations, or somebody has to make a?
So we would just make it, again, and I'll just read it the way,
The
so,
stipulations that they were aware that they have to pay for the caretaker.
Which is approximately how much?
It would
I think
be
it ends
how
up
many
being-
hours?
I think it
Or-
usually ends up being around $60 or something like that.
Okay, so that's kind of a
You
good way
do
to
5
explain
hours
that
and
to
that's
them.
at $12, they're at $12 right now, so, yeah.
This sounds like a community event. These guys are really good. They do a cleanup every year. I think this is one that's but I think with the stipulation that they pay for a caretaker no less than $60. I mean, you have to give them a sense of how much they're
Yeah,
gonna
I
pay
understand
for.
that.
Yeah, so do you wanna make that motion?
Yeah, so, yeah, I can't make it, but I can say we need a
read it
motion.
and we can move it.
All right, I make a motion that we let Green Hanson host a movie night, taking the fee for the lodge off the table, but with the stipulation that they have to pay for one caretaker that would be approximately a $60 value, and if they need to have any more, they have to front those costs.
They have to pay the
Yeah.
caretaker's fee.
And again, the date on that is February 29th, 2020, 6 to 9 p.m. with a 5 p.m. setup
We
time.
have a second,
6 to 9.
Second.
second, Melissa.
With the board of selectmen's,
Yeah, close to
Yeah, these all go to Board of Selectmen.
just wanna make sure.
But
that
you have to
that's
make
right.
sure that you contact Mary Ann, I think it is, who's the
Yeah, I
head
just
of
Yeah.
that,
texted her, yeah.
and make sure they're aware of the caretaker fee.
Mhm.
I don't know if they're charging at all for that night,
probably not.
I'm not sure,
Their email, I don't think that's,
because I know it's.
because they
Yeah,
can't charge it,
They're trying to raise money,
right, they can't charge admission for these movies.
They could accept donations,
Right.
but yeah,
okay.
because it says community event, so.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Okay.
Hanson Community Christmas.
So yes, Hanson Community Christmas is also requesting a donation of the lodge, as well as waiving the cost of caretakers. So it looks like there's somebody, a staff member that will volunteer to be there so that they don't have to pay the cost of the caretaker. Because again, they wrap Christmas presents for people in need.
Oh, this is something different, this isn't for the breakfast?
This is not the Santa breakfast.
So they want to use the lodge to.
So
gather
the
and
dates and
wrap
times, so the dates are December 18th and December 19th, 2019, from 5 to 9 p.m., 3 p.m. setup time. And actually, I know one of the days there'll already be somebody here for yoga, because yoga's at the same time, so there's somebody already staffed. So really, and if it has to be me, you know, I would, you know, volunteer the other day so that they don't get stuck with paying the fee. Because again, this is a very community-oriented thing. They're providing Christmas presents to people that can't afford it, so.
We've done this every year, because basically they just wrap presents and store them here, and usually there's someone from the, you know, from the comm that volunteers their time, so, I motion to let them use the lodge at no charge this year.
Pending approval.
And the approval of the Board of Selectmen.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I just wanna make sure that we're gonna keep this, you know, I mean, we just had Green Hanson saying, can we use the lodge? All we're doing is watching a movie, and they usually set up and break down everything that they do. And now here we are with Community Christmas saying, oh, staff members are gonna donate their time, which is very generous. You know what I mean? Did we give the same consistency to Green Hanson? Because I don't know if
The only
Community
difference
Christmas
between the two
is.
is there is no setup and breakdown. They literally come in, wrap the presents, they're done. And you
Right.
just gotta do one of these. So you
Right.
don't have a caretaker doing any physical labor, there's
But
nothing.
but you're still required to have a staff member here. So, I mean, just like with Deb being a vendor here, right?
Right.
She's being charged a caretaker just to literally open up the door, and then the caretaker goes. So,
Right.
I'm just saying, I think we really need to pump the brakes right here and evaluate how we're charging for caretakers, because we're saying, oh, Deb can pay for the caretaker, while another group also uses the camp. I'm not saying that these groups aren't worthy of a free lodge use and free caretaker. I'm just saying we need to start watching our consistency here.
Except that the fire department, when they come in, they're only wrapping gifts, they're not getting any donations or anything else. The gifts.
So if Green Hanson says we're not going to ask for donations, are they going to get the lodge for free as well if they do all the
I
setup?
think it was a caretaker situation. I think the concern becomes with just a lot of nonprofits in town, if we're going to, I don't actually know what the policy is that we have for that, but you know, in essence, there are a lot of nonprofits that deserve that. So I guess, I hear your point, but at what point do we say, you know, this is costing this camp? Those
Right.
caretakers do cost some money. So I think, you know, it's a great question, but at the end of the day, where is that funding coming from? If Bill is saying that these folks there's somebody that's going to donate their time. If Green Hanson can do something similar, then we just need to kind of.
Right, I'm just saying make it equal play, because I don't think we give them that opportunity for Green Hanson or another group to say, can I get a donated staff member, or how about if we just set up, you know, all you have to do is unlock the door. You know what I mean, everything is a great thing, I'm just saying that we just have to watch.
It does come at kind of like a case-by-case basis.
Can they,
We can't paint.
I mean, it's only like $60, can they fundraise for it? So GoFundMe page?
I just asked Mary Ann, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I think the other thing too is that some of these activities are consistent. So for example, the Community Christmas, they do this every single year. The movie night, should it become something more of like a practice where it happens every single year? That would be one thing. But then if we put ourselves out to kind of just painting the brush the same for everybody, we're gonna have so many different things that I don't think this is a common practice for them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure, sure, I'm
I think
just-
maybe we have to differentiate that if it's something that is, you know, kind of a set,
So it's,
you know what I'm saying?
Is it just for
I feel-
Hanson, because we can open up a can of worms with the tri-towns?
right,
Right.
You know,
right.
I mean, if you're saying Hanson Green, Hanson, this gift wrapping, that's one thing, but then you get Pembroke, you know, and then once they get.
Yeah, then it becomes a real, it's tough.
You know, I mean, do you define it by town?
Yeah.
Because that's, you're gonna have to, they'll kick the door in.
Well, we can
You
also
can't blame them.
turn back the clocks and look at, you know, when we did the 200th anniversary, where we completely wiped everything off the slate. And they're not really a department within the town, but we still did it. So again, we're taking this case by case basis. Now, it does say in the policies and procedures that we can, even if they're departmental, we can still charge for caretaker fees for setup and takeoff. But we didn't on that. So again, you know, each case is gonna determine what we can do. I think anyways.
I just wanted to bring that
Oh,
to your
okay, good
attention,
job.
that's all, you know what I mean, it's just, you know, Deb's gonna flip, I mean, if Deb's gonna pay while she's doing yoga, she's gonna pay for the caretaker, you know, why don't you split the caretaker fee with community, I mean, I'm just saying we have to watch consistency, so that's all,
That's also a
It's-
full
it's
profit.
a tricky.
so.
You're talking a different.
Well, no, what I'm saying is Deb's paying a caretaker to be here, and some other group's gonna benefit from that because there's a caretaker here, so if Green Hanson, I just wanted to make sure there was consistency, that's all I'm saying.
I was under the impression someone from the farm or staff was gonna donate their time.
Yeah, well, one of the nights, there's already a caretaker here, so the night that there is, that is what was gonna happen. And that if there's, say if there's no overlap and yoga's done and we need to have somebody volunteer, then we can make that happen. But my understanding is the way the schedule's set up, one of the nights is a typical yoga night. So there'll already be somebody's staff. And again, they open up for yoga, but they're also cleaning or doing things to the facility, so it's, you know, they're here.
I mean, even if somebody cleans up after themselves, we need to have somebody here with them. That represents us, a caretaker just don't want to close the place.
Yeah, I mean, one way or another, there'll be somebody here for that event.
You're talking about the fire department, right?
Not just the Hanson Community Christmas, fire department's a different thing. So again, right now on the table is, somebody need to make a motion to,
Brian's made a motion.
oh, you made a motion, so now,
It's all done.
So anyone want to second that motion?
Any second? I second. Matt?
You can second, John.
I know. Any discussion, any further discussion on this? The motion has been made to provide Hanson Community Christmas with the lodge for 4 hours, from 5:09 PM to 12:18 to 12:19 and 12:19, not charging them for caretakers. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passed.
I don't know why this is. I think this is actually a little bit of an overlap with 2021 budget, because,
That's okay, we can.
yeah, the monthly budget report, that's gonna be for next meeting, because we said we'll always do it the second meeting of the month. Extravaganza donations, so Hocus Pocus, I believe it was whatever church, on your way to Halifax, the church on the left, I get them all confused, but their cabin, they did a Hocus Pocus theme, it was awesome, they won the cabin decorating contest, so we received a donation from Meadowbrook for a restaurant gift card, so I've reached out to them to let them know to come and pick it up, they haven't yet, they will be here at some point. So that was the donation we received there. Thank you notes have gone out to all of the volunteers and anybody that donated, things like that, Mobile Command, Hanson Fire. So those have all gone out. The surplus salvage, so everybody has
Yep.
form, and I have way too many things, so I may have made copies for everybody else and not for myself, but essentially that's already been submitted. If it's not going in front of the Board of Selectmen tomorrow, it will be for next month. So once they deem it so, we can get rid of the stuff in the chalet and we can get rid of the kite, yeah. So it equates to about 33 cots and accessories, because again, they're in pieces, so
Yeah.
I did my best to count. But the cot graveyard will be cleared out, and going over the notes from Emma with some of the kayaks down at the boathouse. 4 of them that she said were certainly in the worst shape, the red ones and the gray ones. I think she also said possibly the green ones maybe on their way up, but I also don't want to scrap all the kayaks we have, because
Yeah, well,
then
they're
we
gonna be
can't rent them out. So, well, we're gonna have to look at replacing them, but we're gonna have to look at what they're gonna cost, and that's gonna have to come up at a different meeting. But I know that this has been talked about, and we're now getting it done.
We have talked about in the past.
Oh, fantastic, getting it done.
So, So once they deem it so, we'll be getting rid of that stuff.
Mhm.
The other thing that we're gonna have to do, because we voted on the stuff in the chalet, we did not vote on the stuff that's in that little cabin there. So we'll do that maybe next meeting, because we can't put it on now. But there's 8 cots in that one, there's 3 doors and some random pieces of wood. And honestly, my suggestion too would be to make that shed surplus as well. Because I did have, when Bob Carmen was here looking at some other stuff, he looked at that and certainly gave his blessing to take it down, so.
The other question is the mixer in the kitchen, that has never gone anywhere. And I think that we put that up for surplus once before.
Yeah, we talked.
And that nothing has been done with it, so that, with not this
So-
one here, but with the next one, that mixer should go. They're all metal, so we can do the
The
surplus.
mixer, does that work? We sell?
Someone used it one time, it's all rusted up, we tried
Okay.
selling it, but we didn't get any money out of it.
Mhm.
We didn't get any offers or anything, because I know that was offered once before. But,
Well, we might be able to scrap it, because I think we may be able to enlist the help of Highway to come down, get the cots and the mixer, and we can probably scrap it and at least recoup 15 bucks or whatever the hell we're gonna get for it.
like when we get the surplus for all this metal and stuff, we should, and then you could go out and buy the new kayaks, replace the kayaks, and this is the time of the year to do it too,
Yeah.
because they're all knocked down.
Well, I mean, depending on what we get, but I don't know if
You can't do that.
Lucky to get one.
we might be able to buy a paddle, but that's a start. It's a start.
Okay. So you will make a,
So for the next one, yeah, we'll put it on the agenda for the next one, so I'll have it prepped,
Yeah.
but once the vote goes through, then I'll turn that into Greer to get that on the, selectmen's agenda. I wish Diane was here, because I wanted to ask her about some CPC stuff, but on the specific cabin updates, the only specific thing on the north side are that cabins 3, 9, 11, 16, 17, 18, and maybe 10, 12, and 7. I mean, those are kind of 50-50, but hey, if we're rescreening, we might as well take care of those too. Those all need to be rescreened. The cabins that were not mentioned are fine.
Did you guys have
Well-
that on your list this summer, Brian? You guys already had it on your list, okay.
In terms of, I had mentioned at the last meeting, they did start to sweep the stuff off of the cabins, and then we had terrible storms, and now they're all covered again. So the likelihood is maybe before winter we'll look to do that, or just, when we're starting fresh in spring, we'll get them all cleared off and have them looking fresh. If we may, because we have a wonderful guest that has just joined us.
Thank you.
John, where you're,
acting town administrator, Reverend Kiwanee has joined us.
Yes.
So we, going to go back to recreation director update, so.
yeah, so I was essentially gonna give you the opportunity, you can take my update and grace us with,
Well, thank you very much. Diane had asked me, if I'd stop by, so I prefer to defer to when Diane gets here,
okay,
because I know she was gonna be late, so.
okay, yeah, I think she said she'd be here around 7-ish.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we'll continue on and then,
Sure.
circle back.
When Diane gets here, we wanna
Okay,
interrupt.
then we're going, next is, we did the cabin updates, changing tables.
Yeah, so that was in your pile of stuff as well.
There's
It's possibly my ones. So there's 2 different, I went with the ones that I found that had the most reviews and highly rated.
Yeah.
So Koala Care and ECR for kids. So they both had great ratings. The difference being is about 80 bucks a pop. So the Koala ones are more the name brand ones anyway, that you see them in all the Paneras and everything. It honestly, it looks like they're both around the same dimensions, support the same amount of weight. And as of last meeting, I didn't order them yet because it was brought up at the meeting, but there was never a motion made to actually purchase them. So we can do that tonight.
How many we need?
We're gonna do
We need two, so we're gonna do one for the men's room, one for the ladies' room.
There was a motion for up to $350 for them, but this goes above it, so we just have to change
Yeah.
that.
And I get, you guys can decide which ones we want. I mean, honestly, I think this is the one that's $140.
I think the recognizable brand is the Koala one, that's what people are used to. The other one is significantly less, but are you worried about quality then? This is
Yeah.
quality. Do they have a warranty on any of this stuff? Do we know?
That's a good question.
We didn't-
I'll pull it back up and I'll go, because there's more product details tab, so I'll look, I would,
The quad cabs are heavier, thing, the walls. Who's gonna be installing these, the walls, and the support these?
I mean, our caretakers, I would imagine that Ed, this is probably up his alley. I mean, he's replaced almost everything else here. Yes. So that's something that I would.
Well, I gotta tell you
Where
something,
would
as a mom, this thing holds 25 pounds, there are some big babies out there. So let's just go with the one that holds 50 pounds, because if you make the mistake of putting.
Is that the
little
koala? Oh,
tiny-
yeah.
Let's do koala, the other one's only 25 pounds, that's kind of.
Yeah, and especially it says, you know, after
That's
3.5 years.
weight of the item.
No, our diaper changing board features 2 diaper bag hoods that hold up to 25 pounds each to keep personal items off the floor and 2 bills.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Now, the weight capacity is, let's see,
Never mind.
200 pounds.
Here's diaper changing.
No, they got all
board.
the other
What?
stuff that's on there, yeah.
2 hooks, oh.
Oh, the diaper
those are
bag hooks.
Additional?
So what it doesn't say,
Have a bag hooks, yeah.
Oh, the koala supports 200, the other one's 250.
Oh, that's more than.
Koala supports two, that is 200 maybe.
Then what was that hook thing for? Oh, it's something
it's for
different?
their diaper bag. So in the koala one, I can't, it's got areas to put liner dispensers and everything, so it's got places to store those. I don't believe the other one does, but it's got the hooks for you to hook your bag onto it, so,
That's the one that has 25 pounds,
yeah.
carrying a bowling ball, I guess, I don't know.
Capacity.
Oh, and actually it is 50 pounds, 'cause it says features 2 diaper bag hooks that hold up to 25 pounds each, so there's your 50 pounds. But then if you throw in a 50-pound baby, now where are we?
Well, you're not gonna put the baby on the hook, I mean, honestly.
Oh my gosh, pick one.
Station with 500 liners.
Well, with the 500 liners, the price went up to like
Yeah,
270 something.
Way down the back page.
I'm thinking in reality though, there aren't, even if we had a camping situation going on, the traffic that it's gonna get
You
isn't
can get,
really.
you can
So, I
also get a
mean,
renewal one.
we could actually go with a cheaper one, the traffic isn't gonna be.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be
anticipate the
a lot.
traffic being.
No, and again, it's gonna be for a year, so I mean, if people are camping, they got their
Yeah, and you're
cabins
talking,
that
this
they
is
need.
for weddings, really.
Yeah, this is for events
Yeah,
here,
I
yeah.
think that's
And anyone
okay.
bringing a baby to a wedding should be shot at.
With confetti he meant, yes.
Okay, so,
So we would need a motion to spend the equivalent of what 2 of these are gonna cost.
With
280?
Well, you're covered from the last meeting up to $350.
Oh, yeah.
Well, again, when we went through the minutes, it looked like it was brought up, but it didn't actually,
350?
it brought up, it was brought up, but it didn't get, there was a motion, but nobody seconded it, so.
You shouldn't be paying tax.
Right, okay, so.
Yeah, no, not through the town's
No,
account.
We can
so how
order
much
from
this is?
Amazon.
Yeah.
This is 280 altogether.
If we do the line. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so isn't
Oh, I'm
that
sorry,
more?
no, we got 2 different things.
It's
Yeah, it would be 280 for the
280, so that's within
ECR for kids, that's the one that we're getting ready to make a motion for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
The one with that.
Do you have an Amazon Prime account?
Yeah, so we have it. How did it jump that much
It's 280.
for the liners?
Look at the liners, what is that, station 500?
those liners,
You don't
I gotta
really
tell you,
need
you
liners.
don't use those
I
liners,
mean, as
no,
long as they're
you,
gonna have
Yes,
the
you-
blankets and stuff.
you
yeah,
definitely
bag,
don't.
right?
You don't, especially, it's.
but have you ever used it? No, you put something
Okay.
down on it.
Alright, so then we don't need to worry about dropping 280 with the line, so.
Yeah,
Right.
so.
So we would need the motion, and let's just say, let's call it an even 300, just to have wiggle, just so we don't need to come back.
Yeah.
But if we could get a motion to spend up to $300 on 2 changing stations from Amazon, the ECR for kids. Somebody just needs to move that
So
motion.
moved. Did I do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you chairing the meeting?
Yeah.
Are you chairing the meeting?
Yeah.
You should have somebody else on.
Okay. Yeah.
moved. So moved.
I told you I couldn't, that's why I didn't move anyway. I'm sharing. Okay, any discussion, further discussion on this? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? The motion passes.
You know what, can we skip back to the cabin stuff real quick? Cause I had another little handout in there for you guys that
The locks?
I forgot about, yeah.
The locks.
So this is also in looking up on Amazon. So looking at 6 packs of the master locks. So for a 6-pack, it's $65.99. We would need probably 5 of those to fashion 30 cabins, which would bring us to roughly $330, $329.95. The second sheet, and it's double-sided, so you just gotta flip it over. The hasps, just over $6 a piece. At, needing 30 of them, so $182, so at the bottom there. So through Amazon, we'd be looking at spending roughly $512.35. The issue there, so I also went down to Ace Hardware, and they said they could do the hasps and the locks for roughly $20 each. So it ends up being a little bit more than this, but the issue here is that these 6-packs, these will be keyed to one key, the next 6-pack will, so would end up with 5 different keys, whereas, so through Ace, they can key them all to the same key. So it's gonna be roughly $100 more,
And it's a local business.
and we have an account there. So I mean, I can get, if you want the definitive quote of what it's gonna be, he can reach out to Master Lock and find out, but he said you're probably looking at roughly $20 or so, a lock and hasp for the cabins. And they do the keying specifically at the
So
hardware
there's
store.
one master key.
There'll be one master key for all 30 locks.
All right, is that a hard count 30? Because I counted about 34, 35 cabins based on the plan.
I know we have a few locks, so I was just going
A few
off,
of them
we've
have
got
locks.
we've got locks for a few of them, we just don't have them for all of them. So, with what we have, we probably have enough for, say, 4 to 6, because actually 2 cabins are already locked up. So 9 and 12 are locked because one has a floor issue and one has a beam issue. So,
So 30.
we've got a handful that we could outfit, but we need at least probably 30 just to be safe.
All right, can we make a motion on
Let's
that?
make a motion, we make a motion for the padlocks. We bought at Ace Hardware.
For approximately how much?
It'll be probably between 6 to 650.
For approximately $600,
Let's say
$650.
700.
For up to
For
$700.
up to, but let's do that to save her.
So want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to spend $700 for the locks and hasps for the 30 cabins for up to $700
So,
from Ace Hardware.
Ace Hardware in Hanson. Second, Melissa seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
There's no one.
Any opposed?
They're just hooking
The
on.
motion passes.
I mean, in the winter,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times they just do wood.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's step into.
Yeah. Oh, and just real quick, so the meeting minutes are going around to be signed and everything, did everybody, has that made its way?
We haven't.
So I just need to make sure I get those back before.
5 minutes.
I've got another.
Did you sign? Did you sign?
I think we get them done yet.
Brian had them after.
Yeah, in a pile somewhere.
The other thing I have is the expenses.
Did I give them back to you?
Is it in my, I don't know. Hold on. Is it in my pile or your pile? It's MIA. Wait a minute, it's MIA. Nope, nope. I think it was making its way around. I don't have it. Melissa, do you have it over there?
No, I haven't got it.
Right after here.
Uh-huh.
We'll find them.
wanna check my-
Somewhere.
Glad I brought it up now instead of saying in the meeting, we're like, oh, it's in a fire. So I guess while we're on the, oh wait, I'm not the chief, so I'm just gonna be quiet until.
Okay,
We'll find it.
so we have changing tables, rolls.
Yeah, Brian, if you wanna jump in this one, cause I know you'd requested to put on the agenda, I don't have anything for this, so.
Right, rules, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because we've had quite a few meetings and discussions and conversations about exactly how the camp, roles run, who answers to who doesn't answer to the other person, and and if I could use John's eyes tonight, because I do have an eye tonight, and I already talked to him, you can read this. And this is the original description of what the Recreation Commission in 1990 is supposed to do. And it's only the bottom half of that, John,
Where am I voting?
where it's really thick.
And back in 1990, they did not have a recreation director.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
But the role of the commission has never changed since then. Voted as far as an overall. Right where your left
Prime
finger is.
Minister, this was on, passed in 1990,
I got it right.
Right, you through.
voted aye unanimously to rescind all previous town meeting votes concerning the Kiwanee Management Committee, the Cranberry Code Committee, and the Recreation Commission, and establish a newly formed Recreation Commission. This commission shall consist of 9 members to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen, 3 for 1 year, 3 for 2 years, and 3 for 3 years, and thereafter for 3-year terms. Shall be the duty of this commission and each of its members to oversee the total operation of the current Camp Kiwanee and the current Cranberry Code and other recreational activities deemed proper, including but not limited to the setting of priorities, the hiring and termination of employment of necessary personnel, the handling of and the accounting for funds entrusted to their care, the maintenance of facilities, the planning of future operations, and all other duties that normally fall within these responsibilities. All activities shall be directed in the best interests of the residents of the town of Hanson only. Members shall annually choose a chairman, secretary, and financial secretary from their membership.
That was it.
That's it.
No, it was changed in 1991 to reduce it down to a 7-member. Now to Bill's point, which is an excellent point, that, you know, obviously a recreation director has been put into play, which is great. Jumping back to a few meetings ago, we were talking about splitting hairs about oversight. And going over, once again, going back to the rec director's application for employment underneath the central functions. Immediately underneath that, which we skipped over, says the essential functions or duties included in the following, other duties may be assigned. I can probably relate that back to the people that assigned it is going to be the Recreation Commission. It's not going to be the Board of Selectmen, it's not going to be the town administrator. It comes here first. If there's any issues again, you have wage and personnel and things like that. We're all involved in this stuff. We didn't write this out. It was done by, I think, the Board of Selectmen. Might be wrong. Bruce might be able to answer that.
Which one are you talking about?
The application for employment that explains the other duties may be assigned and who they're assigned by. I think you were on the board at the time that this job description was carried
Well,
out.
the job description is
Yeah.
done by the Wage and Personnel Board, which is the Board of Selectmen, basically.
Right.
They're wearing another hat.
Right. So from what I can gather, I don't like going back and forth and whose boss is whose boss and all that other stuff, but there seems to be a lot of pushback in quite a few of our meetings over, you know, I don't know, you'd have to listen to the tapes and read the meeting minutes. There's just a lot of pushback that we don't need.
Right,
We're a 7-member club, we've offered help numerous times. And again, we're still offering help.
Yeah.
Need help, facilities, events, whatever. But it just seems there'll be emails that I won't discuss particulars on, but sometimes you'll get a response, sometimes you'll get a couple of remarks that are a little less than professional. And it just wants
Swearing
to
at them.
No, there's no swearing, it's not that bad. But I'm just saying, they just don't want to get into who's boss is who's, because at the end of the day, we all work together.
Right.
I'm just getting to the point of where I'm kind of really starting to get frustrated with this whole push.
You're not the only one.
Right, but we're not trying to push, we're trying to help.
Okay,
So, Diane Cohen has joined us. She is chairman of the Recreation Commission, and I will now yield my next part of the meeting.
Very sorry, thank you.
No worries.
That's parent-teacher conferences. Okay. There are a lot of different personalities in this room, and we are just going to have to have black and white issues, I think, with rules left to adhere to them. And some respect for everybody's position with a little bit of common sense, which I find nowadays, not just here or anywhere else, but not to be so common. So I think we can establish some sort of protocol. Yes, the commission is in charge. Do we agree on this? Yes, the commission is in charge of making the overall decisions and stuff like that. But we have to also let Bill do his job and get used to the position and see the whole camp through with all its different phases. And I think if we can just be as respectful to each other as we can be, answering emails but not inundating, and taking constructive criticism without taking our ball and running home and crying into a towel or whatever else we're gonna do. I think we're adults here and we can figure this out.
I think the other thing too, Diane, is that we have to really try to be objective. We're making some progress. It is so frustrating. I only come into this position just recently. I give you all credit for the frustration that you've gone through. I really feel it, and I've only been here a short time, so I think I understand that, but we have to try to be objective, and we've made some strides, right? We now have a new director. We don't have enough time to even gauge anything. We do have a business plan that we created. It's rough, right? But there's a guide. So when you say protocol, I really think we need to just stop with some of that and then just stick to some of the protocol and accountability. Maybe do a checklist on accountability as opposed to just, dredging up some like previous type things. I think we really need to focus on what's in front and just move forward. So
With a reasonable expectation.
right, and accountability as well.
And there has to be accountability, exactly. So that being said, did you already speak?
I did not speak, I wanted to.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to ask Mary, acting as the administrator right now, to just lay this out, how she sees it from her position. And, everybody has their perspective and the truth is somewhere in the middle, okay? And that's pretty much, none of us is perfect and we can all improve a little bit on both ends. So I want to let Mary speak because then I want to let her go. So she can have a life, okay?
You don't want to stay here for mine?
Well, that's,
It's
I'm
tempting
tomorrow night somewhere until 9.
That's true, yeah.
Starting earlier than usual. But the chairman of the Board of Selectmen asked me if I would stop by and meet with the board, and I spoke to Diane, and she asked if I would come, and it was already on the agenda about the goals. And things have changed considerably since the original vote in '91. We had an executive secretary, we didn't have a town administrator. Everybody was hiring their own people. The planning board hired, the assessors hired, the library trustees hired, and then they brought things together and created the Town Administrator Act, who is, all it says this, and what was voted at town meeting, the town administrator makes a recommendation for hires and fires to the relevant body. We didn't even have a director then, so the director isn't even listed in the Town Administrator Act. But everybody understands what the point of the whole Town Administrator Act was. To be in charge of the personnel and to make sure everybody's doing their jobs. So the Board of Selectmen respects everything that the commission is doing. It's a relatively new commission. We're trying to get everybody heading in the right direction and working together. But as a commission, you're one voice collectively. It's not one individual in charge of everything, saying this and saying that. With a department head, the department head usually works in conjunction with the chairman as they set the goals from meeting to meeting. The committee together can say, look, these are the things we want to have done, by the next meeting, or what our long-term vision is, whatever that may be, and set the road ahead on how you want the camp to look like. So in between meetings, the communication really should be running, and I know this is a burden for every chairman and every committee, but that's what the job is to work with the department head to decide what's going to be on the agenda and how things are going, where's the status. But when, particularly in your case, you've got 7 members here, we had 5 members on the Board of Selectmen. If everybody's calling the town administrator saying, do this, do that, do this, you're standing there and you're spinning wheels. So you need to speak with one voice on what it is that you need done and what the expectations are. So I think Billy's done a good job. He's only been here 5 months. He's thrown into the middle of the busiest season, and we haven't had a lot of, success with the previous directors. Again, they all jumped in the middle of the busy season. So I think everybody needs to learn their roles and understand their jobs and, work together. When I sent the budget message out to all the departments, all the department heads are responsible for pulling the budget together and then presenting it to their boards, for approval. In my case, as a town administrator, we get everybody's budget. And I saw in the policies and procedures that was forwarded to town council that it talks about the budget being done by the end of December, and then it goes in January. Well, that's not the schedule. The schedule, for the last 5 years anyway, the budget message would go out in October. The budgets are forwarded to the town administrator in November. They're reviewed with the town accountant and the department heads. And then the final budget that the town administrator presents to the Board of Selectmen for approval and recommendation to the Finance Committee actually happens the end of January. So in this case, you have until the 22nd of November to get a budget together, and what would happen is the department head would come to me or go to the town accountant and say, what are our expenses? And most of them should know. The problem is, he's only been here, 5 months. You gotta learn SoftWrite, be able to print this stuff out. And you guys have a different format than most of all the other departments, because we all, work right in SoftWrite and have the numbers where your revenues are in a different account. So that's something that Todd would have to provide and give that to you for consideration what you want your budget to be. But the outset is, Billy should be sitting down with the town accountant, figuring out, this is what we have for a budget, this is what we spent to date, what do we project for next year? And then bring it to the commission and say, well, we want to put roofs on the cabins, or we want to do this and that, and lay it out, and then the budget's presented. It may not be final form. It may come back, and after sitting with Todd, say, I think you guys probably need a little more money here than in your expenses, and you can see that I showed Billy how to run the expense lines, so you know what's been spent to the end of that particular month. And you should be able to see that on a regular basis, and you should probably get that once a month. Probably your second meeting of the month,
That
This
was
is
what we
where
just-
we're at
That was said at the last meeting.
right now. And that would be very helpful, it would answer a lot of questions, it would save a lot of emails, so where are we right now? You shouldn't have to worry about what the budget is from day to day.
No?
You ought to have an idea at the bottom line, what the previous month was. And Todd comes and meets with the Board of Selectmen on a quarterly basis, saying globally, this is where we are. I think we're concerned about this particular department for one reason or another. And, you know, one of my lines, the insurance line. The insurance line is depleted because I pay all my bills July 1st for all our risk insurance. So those are the things that are pointed out during the course of the year. So setting, and I mentioned this the last time I was here, you know, setting a calendar in advance. I just want to say that the Halloween extravaganza, as wet as it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing the cabin, and, you know, the kids that actually wanted to go out in the rain, or mom and dad would take them out in the rain. They seemed to be having fun, everybody
They did.
enjoyed it. And so this is the time you look forward to what is next year gonna be.
Right.
You don't want to be waiting until next July or August to do it. Now is your quiet time, start setting up your events that are gonna be going forward, plan them ahead. And I mentioned a couple of things to Bill that may help improve, and I know your previous extravaganza last year had way more kids, but I'm sure this was weather related. But getting the news out to the schools, the flyers that will go to schools.
Building
because they
relationships
will-
within the community.
the kids will come home with flyers all the time. So that's one of the things you can work on. And I apologize, we have stolen lawn from you, moving on to conservation. So I posted the position early, I got the permission from the
Union.
you know, from the clerical union, because the contract says, you know, within 10 days of the position being vacant. Well, I wasn't gonna wait, have you guys sit here and wait for somebody to come. So I checked with them, and they were gracious enough to say, go ahead and post it. And then they did a survey and say nobody's interested, so if you wanna post it externally, you can.
Right.
So the deadline for the applications is the 15th of November. And I generally sit with the chairman and the department head, review the applications, bring in the people we want to bring in, and, you know, interviews, and then I would make a recommendation. This would be an employee of the Board of Selectmen, but I wouldn't make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen without, you know, some consensus from the commission on, you know, this is what we want. We need a good fit. You need a strong person who's gonna be able to jump right in and start working right away. So, and again, this is a good time for a new person to come in because it's slow. They'll have an opportunity to learn the systems and the processes. So, you know, hopefully that will, you know, lighten things up, but there's things, I've seen some of the emails back and forth, and it gets to be a lot, it gets to be overwhelming. And if we can just pick a few things that the board, that the commission wants addressed at one, you know, now,
At one time.
and go together and do it collectively instead of just a lot of emails, and it's very difficult to work for 7 chiefs.
We know we're playing catch up here, and everybody wants every little piece of everything fixed right away. There's the, you know, there's the marketing piece, there's the facilities piece, there's the event piece, and we know the finances are dismal, and we know that we are playing catch up to get the place to where we need it to be. It languished for a little bit, particularly in the facilities area, and that's the stuff that nobody gets credit for, you know? I mean, so.
But I think honestly, as you were just saying that, there were in our executive summary, it's not detailed obviously, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals, major goals that are attainable, and we've started doing. So for example, tonight we had a lot of work on our facilities. We have, under the executive summary, guys, improve and maintain the facilities to ensure the safety and well-being of all camp visitors. We're currently doing that, and you know, lots of things have been done. Actually, the 2 Bryans this summer did an inventory, cleaned out quite a bit of the cabins. So we're doing a lot of these things, but I think the other thing too that we need to be able to feel is that there is some checklist that we're checking off. I feel like we're sitting here and half the time, it's, this idea is thrown out and it's never done. You don't have closure.
Right.
So to be honest with you, at this point, I think we need that closure, and I'm gonna use the cornhole tournament as an example. I came into this board, and that cornhole tournament and the paddle boards, I joke about the paddle boards, was on the agenda over and over again, and it was like, I wanted to, I don't know anything about paddle boarding, and I hated it, you know, just seeing it there, over and over again. But, you know, we executed on the cornhole tournament. Certainly, you know, we have a lot of room to grow, but we need some sense of, just, we need to be able to execute some of the things that we have on this, and also be able to reflect on, you know, its effectiveness.
Right.
So I think that's where we're at right now, and everything else that we want to do, sadly, we can't do, given that Bill is one guy, he is one guy, he is being asked to do 5 different things. It's unfair. Honestly, and so we need to kind of tone back a little bit some of our expectations, because it's just not possible. So in terms of our goals, I think we have to go back to this business plan. It's a guide, and one of the other things too, Mary, is that we want at this time next year to have increased our revenue.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
very, very important. I think every single person here just wants to see that revenue go up. 5%, it's not much to ask, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's where we need to kind of focus, and measurable goals.
Measurable and attainable.
And attainable, and if they're not, we need to come together and say, okay, well, it wasn't, what were the things we need to do, and everybody collectively jumped in. It's not one person's, you know, burden to.
So the way this happens then is that Bill and I will communicate more frequently. I can tell now I won't be able to read every single email I get. I just won't. You know, so we'll pick our top few priorities.
And right now, your priority would be the budget. You've got to get the budget done, a capital improvement plan. That needs to be filed the same time that we file your budgets.
To put things on the matrix, you mean? To put things on the matrix?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct, but, you know, good things that you know you're gonna need with prices. And if you don't have the prices available, we can work with that. But lists of things, $35,000 or higher, which I know everything around here is $35,000. But with a 10-year lifespan. So, you know, look at the lodge, look at the things that in the cabins and what it is that you want to do. Put it on, but it doesn't have to all be for next fiscal year. What are you going to be doing out, once the roof is finished? We don't need anything for another 10 years, hopefully. So those are things that, you know, Bill will need to be working on and bring it to the commission. When do you guys meet again? 18th.
So Mary, here's a question that was posed. So as Todd and I are working on the budget, and the commissioner are gonna have some line items in the budget that they're gonna say, well, we want this as a figure. If it comes to a vote on the 18th, and what Todd and I have presented doesn't necessarily sit completely with the commission, they wanna change some things, well, now we've gotta have it turned in by the 22nd, and they may not wanna vote on that budget because it's not the exact numbers they wanna see. The process for that is there still room to change that?
Yeah, definitely. You present a budget. Todd will go over and show you how it works and what you have for revenues, and by tomorrow you'll have what the revenues are. I mean, just last Friday was awful. We didn't have any internet or anything, at least the town hall was up. So Todd will be able to give you the revenue numbers. But put together what you think you need. And this is a time to think about what you want for salaries, because I'm assuming the board will probably vote to increase the minimum hourly rate. So those numbers are important when you put together your numbers for the cove. I don't know where everybody else is around here, if they're already above minimum wage, but
No, we have some caretakers too that.
Move them up a little bit, so that will have an impact on what your salary numbers are gonna be in the budget.
Big one.
But it's not something you would think of because you'd be getting a memo from me in December saying the wage and personnel hearing is gonna be in January. It's like, oh shoot, I wasn't thinking. That's really part of the process, and it's, I've been doing this for 21 years, so I know what the schedule is. You guys are all new with this, and Billy is brand new with this, so he doesn't know what to expect. But I'm just putting you on notice that sometime in January, when I hope not to be here, you know, been great and everything, but they'll be having a wage and personnel hearing, and if there's something else that you need, if you think there's another position that is necessary to run things, whether it's a function coordinator or
Facilities personnel.
I know, because we're really working hard on that, but just to, not to be jumping around here, but this won't really have too much of an effect on the camp, but, you know, the school issue is gonna cost the town a lot of money. So the effect it's gonna have on the camp is, the Board of Selectmen really supports getting a facilities director, and it's just gonna be difficult to afford to do that. We're gonna look into it and see what the next town administrator might be able to bring in for ideas, but that's where it impacts the camp. That, you know, it's somebody who knows their business and comes in and says, this is what needs to be done, and this is what it's gonna cost you. And I know the two Brians have been running around trying to get quotes for stuff. That's not what you guys are supposed to be doing, and
But it's what's
it's
necessary to make
necessary.
things move
Exactly.
here.
Exactly, and that's what the previous commissions had done. They just had an administrative assistant, not one person. So it was all hands on deck, everybody's running in different directions, but the problem is, now that you've got one person who's in charge and doesn't know what direction everybody's going in, it's like herding cats. It's like, you know, what's happening here, I need to know. So if you have a one focus on what's going on, but grabbing some numbers for facilities work that needs to be done.
Facilities work that needs to be done properly, permitted, following the rules and regulations,
Right.
okay? So
You need a permit, you need to talk to the building
previous
inspector.
things that were done,
you
yeah,
need to
things
pay
got done,
prevailing
but we
wage.
wanted to follow the
Those are
proper
the things
protocol.
that, you know, so you may have gotten some bum information previously, but, as I said to one person, I've been here for 21 years and I wanna go out with a clean slate and I don't wanna be, you know, getting caught up in something that hasn't been.
Right. I would have to say then, you know, I think when we're talking about protocol and such, right? If you take a look at our agenda, guys, we should not be here till 9 o'clock at night discussing this. That's one thing, and I want to go back to what you're saying. We really need to prioritize. There are so many things on here that are, you know, that we could maybe kind of cut down so we could focus much on the budget. It's very, very difficult to focus on the budget when you're trying to catch your breath and trying to do so much more. So maybe as a commission, we need to take a look at maybe tabling some things and just focusing on that budget. So budget, right? For, you know, the next few weeks, and maybe we, you know, cut out Serve Safe workshop or cut out a couple of things, because I think, you know, we're tired. I know you certainly, you know, everybody here works a long day. We should not be here till 9 o'clock. I know it's a simple suggestion.
I'm just saying, 9 o'clock, I'd be thrilled at 9 o'clock at my meetings.
Right, but I think,
Just saying.
but so, I mean, let's focus on having a much more effective meeting.
Productive meeting.
Productive
It's
and.
going to be
and-
shorter, we're gonna prioritize more.
Yeah, okay,
So,
I think.
We've
let's
never
focus
had
on
much
that.
of transparency since I've been here. We've always heard we have no money. Well, what money do we have? What are we spending? So that's why we brought it forth. What do we have to work with? And then we compare that down based on that. We've never had that.
And and I was surprised to hear that you didn't get a monthly
Yeah.
report. That's
Just
something,
short, that's, you know, short.
right, that's something that you should be getting.
So can there be a priority? Can that happen? That can happen.
That-
Well,
That
it's
is happening,
been- it
that
was
is
voted in.
happening, I was voted in the last meeting,
Okay.
so at the end, at the
So on the
second meeting,
18th, we'll
the
have a,
second meeting of every month, we will have an expenditures and a revenues report.
See, progress.
That's it,
Yeah.
addition and
Fantastic.
subtraction, very simple, we can deal with that.
And you'll
Great.
see in these reports where your shortfalls are, in some you have a high expense line in this category, but you didn't spend that much money last year, so we need to
Adjust.
adjust the budget and say, really, apparently we need a little more in may I say, building maintenance, instead of linens or something like that. I just picked that up, I don't know what the linen budget is.
Right.
We
But,
actually need more for linens too.
okay, yes. Yeah, I think that was red when I printed that out.
Yeah.
On the administrative assistant side, I know we're going out probably into the general public, but
Yes.
is there a chance that we get somebody, and they might be out there with an event planning background, who could be that person? Not just
Then
necessarily,
you're adding hours, you're adding more hours to the job description.
To the budget as well.
no, I mean, if you stay within those budget constraints,
It's a 30-hour.
It's,
27
it's up to 27 hours
27.
because originally the position was 25 hours, I think it was September to probably March, and then 30 hours from March to September when it was busy. And so it averaged out to 27 hours. And I think Lon had been working 27 hours just year round.
Right.
But at one time, and I know you guys, she's crazy, that didn't happen. At one time, it was really like quiet during that period of time. So,
It was quiet.
It was quiet,
But
but
things were
that was the only person here. There wasn't a director here. So they were in charge of, we had the caretakers taking care of the building, but, had time to look for grants and things like that. And right now, the town planner, she is a grant maven. She does a great job looking for grants, so grants may be helpful. And I know you guys are aware that we got the $25,000 earmark from the state. I've already sent in a letter to the state for them to send out the money. I know it will help a little bit with the roof or whatever else you need, but it's, with respect to the administrative assistant's position, that is a position that's within the union, so we can't change that.
but if you go outside into the general world and somebody has that background,
It has to be,
No, I know
They would join the
they
union.
have to join the union, right?
Well, no, the position is administrative assistant, and it has a specific job description. So, you would have to be looking for somebody else.
If they happen to
Which would
have
be a
that
wage of personnel.
If they happen
If
to have it.
if they had the background and they could do it,
yes.
just help with it, but it wouldn't be
A requirement.
a requirement, and it may just require a different person to be doing the job. You could create another position under wage and personnel. As a matter of fact, I think there is an event
We
planner.
have that,
There is an event planner in the wage and personnel,
There is.
correct?
Yeah,
It's
yes.
not the part-time, but, wait,
Wage and personnel should be down the second
is.
section.
It was put in years ago.
Could we ever contract out? Because I gotta tell you, an events person is costly. They're not going to take an administrative assistant pay.
No.
So, I mean, I think the reality of that is there a possibility to contract somebody out as opposed to?
To just come in and do
Yeah.
a wedding or something like that?
One that lives right up the street.
Just a couple, just to have someone come in to very
Yeah.
specifically deal with sales and.
Yeah, I said that a long time.
I think we're getting a little bit
I'm in the wedding
specific now,
business.
because that would fall under the commission to vote
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
if we could find it in our budget.
But that's a budget scenario.
It's a budget
So, I mean, we
scenario,
can
which
propose
we can
this, so
discuss.
we're blue, hopefully it happens.
Right, you can propose it, but if it
Yeah.
looks, you put the numbers together and say, this is what you have for revenues, you're not gonna be able to afford that.
Why don't we just
But
try?
if you said,
Something-
but you
okay.
could put it under contracted services.
We could try.
If you could figure out what the price was to have somebody specifically, you know you're gonna have 25 events, we need you to come in on these dates for these
Right.
weddings.
Might be helpful.
That might
You know.
be something you could consider.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is it doesn't have to be a said event planner, but somebody who might have
I
been an
understand what you're
administrative
saying,
assistant
yes.
Yeah.
with an event planning.
Right, but we can't advertise it that way because it's not in the job
Kind of
description.
description.
Right, and it's not in the clerical union. See, the clerical union has very specific positions. So, and that is not one of them. But I'm not saying that you may get some person who applies, who's applying to be the administrative assistant, and, oh my God, she was just doing planning
Yes.
at Halifax Country Club.
Yes, exactly.
Great, can you do Excel?
Yeah.
Perfect, just what we need.
Right.
Yeah, it
Right.
doesn't prohibit them
Oh,
from having.
but I understand what you're saying. What I wanted to make clear was that because of the union rules, and we cannot advertise it as that part as being part of the job description. I don't even know if we're allowed to say helpful in it, so.
No, but I think all the job descriptions, because we had a classification study done as part of the union contract two years ago. And a company came in and redid all the union's job descriptions, and they redid classifications. So these job descriptions have been approved by the union, as they
That's a
said.
big
But each
undertaking.
one of them does say, and any other duties
As assigned.
as
I
assigned.
said, I think, let's put that in for, you know, for the wages proposal. Let's just put that in there, because it's a need that we constantly talk about that.
But-
That is a gaping
Okay,
hole.
but that, again,
So
that's
moving
not for
forward to
this
that, yeah.
particular moment. I just wanted to-
No, but
So-
preparing for wage and personnel, it's on there, right, Joan?
Camp Kiwanee event planner is another part-time position.
Yes.
Okay, and the rate will, at this time in 7/1/19, it was 12 to 17
Okay.
an hour. So I mean, if we wanted to have an event planner as such, we could put it in the wage section of our budget when we do it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
You know,
let's
you
do
could,
that.
and what you would do is if you wanted, I don't know, $25 an hour, $30 an hour, I don't know, whatever
And
the
event
number is, you would
planner.
put that in your budget, and then in January,
Manager.
you would go to the wage and personnel board selectmen, and say, we want to increase the range for the event planner from $12.70 to $12.17 to $35 to make it a realistic position that could actually get people. to
That would be
apply.
fantastic, because then, you know, if you had somebody like that, and you know, wedding season's coming up, we could hire somebody just for that, you know, portion of, like, say, from January through March
Yeah.
to book those. Can we do that? That's something we
Can
can
we
do.
make it
Well, the
seasonal?
booking stuff would be
Bookings is the
the
administrative
administrative
assistant.
assistant. That's what the
What
administrative
about
assistant.
sales? The sales would be the.
That's all that thing.
We're
We're getting off on a
We're getting
tangent.
off
so-
here, okay, so can we just,
Yeah, let's
I
table
wanna let
that.
Mary go.
Let's table that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so please, this is what happens in these meetings, and we need to have very specific things on the agenda that we're going to discuss. You guys can email me about your top priority, about what we want to discuss, we'll throw it on the agenda, that'll be the meeting. Okay?
So then I'll go under budgets. We'll talk
Okay.
about budgets, okay.
So, just to reiterate so that it's on tape, the hierarchy and the structure of accountability here, could you just reiterate that?
The commission, as a whole, gives a direction to the director. The director is in charge of everybody.
Implementing it.
Implementing it in the people below. The administrative assistant, the caretakers, he should be assigning the duties to them.
And
making sure-
scheduling.
And scheduling,
Okay.
and making sure they're doing their job. I don't want to get off topic, but I didn't know what you guys were talking about, possibly for a beach director going forward, but would be in charge. I know, I'm just thinking ahead to the summer.
Absolutely. It is
That the
something we
beach
have already
director,
discussed.
You
He
know,
has,
he should be in charge of the
Absolutely.
beach director and going forward. Any personnel issues that come up should actually be going to the town administrator. If there's an issue with personnel, but they should be, if something happens, a commission member sees something, it should be reported to the director to deal with. The commission member should not be dealing directly with the staff. I don't mean you can't talk to them. What I'm just saying is you don't want to be disciplining them or anything else. If there's an issue, something happened, somebody's late for work, the director should be in charge of.
That's in our
And if
policies
it's-
anyways.
And
That is
if there's a problem that needs to elevate to the town administrator, the discipline's gonna be happening, the town administrator will be handling that.
okay.
See, the hiring process for the EAA was going through the Board of Selectmen?
Because it's a union employee.
Okay.
And the
They
Board of
will
Selectmen signs the
consider
contract with them.
Our opinions and recommendations, we
Right.
are going to be part of the process,
Yes.
okay? So we can sit in on interviews.
Well,
Well,
it's generally done with the chairman and the director. And, you know, we could maybe narrow it down.
Well, yeah, when we also do, and then we bring to the commission here the candidates that we feel are strong, is that how that works? It would come to a meeting as opposed to all of us coming to you?
No,
Oh,
because it's a
right.
union position,
Right.
because it's a union position, it'll be you and me and Mary.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
If it was somebody that like your position is not a union position.
Right.
That is why we all
Okay,
collectively could sit in on it.
gotcha.
All right? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Okay, let's move this meeting on. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mary.
Have a good night.
Mary, you too, thank you.
Okay, so to reiterate, in the future, we're going to have our top 3 things on these agendas. That's it,
Yes.
in the future. So, as a side note, you know, Bill, you and I will make an arrangement to talk at least once a week. And, you know, to do other, you know, just to keep track of all the little things that carry over from week to week that may not be resolved by the next agenda.
Yeah.
So we don't want to leave them there like that, but keep working on them and then add
And then
something.
we bring back, yeah.
Right,
Bring them back
okay?
another time, yeah.
And if there's anyone else that would like to be the chairperson of the commission, please let me know, because I can't promise everything right now, you know,
That changes what, in January? No.
I just got voted back in July.
yeah,
July.
You got that, yeah.
I know. I have a 90-year-old mother who is losing balance and things that I need to deal with. So, in any regard. Okay, so let's move on. Where were we in this meeting, John?
What we just wrote, so we're on to old business.
Wow.
How's it going?
We're just now on old business. We did the update. Okay, so we're on old business.
Warrants.
And those, meeting minutes from last meeting are still floating around somewhere.
They're right here.
Oh, they
I
are?
just didn't want to,
Oh, okay.
okay?
And they've been signed and all that fun stuff?
Yes, and I don't do in front of 4 meetings, like the camera in front of you. Camera adds 10 pounds and I don't need that. Okay,
You just gotta.
you go ahead.
Tippy toe.
John?
To be able to do the budget properly, we need to know what each person gets for a wage, hourly wage, that has to be worked in, so that the $12 can then be imposed to $13 and up the.
Okay, so Bill,
We need the same thing for the cove too.
I understand that. When we do the budget, can we just get a list of our current salary rates for each?
Joan has it.
Okay?
Lon sent it to her this afternoon.
I have 2 weeks of payroll, but I didn't get the weeks that I wanted. There's another.
Well, cause
week missing.
the weeks that you're credit, they haven't gone,
That
they
they haven't
go in
gone
like
through
now.
yet?
And it won't be available to the end of the week.
But I'm-
That, she sent you the most recent ones.
She sent me, no, the one for the week for the 21st to the 27th should already been put in. What you put in this week would have been the last week, the end of last week of the month. That's-
But aren't they the same, nothing's changed, correct?
It's all, yeah.
Okay, their rate has not changed.
No, the
Okay,
rates
so
I have-
the rate is the information we want,
Right, I have.
so we have access to that.
And-
So we have the information we need, correct?
Yeah. And I'm meeting with Todd tomorrow,
Great.
so that'll be part of the discussion and figuring out, okay,
And there will be no rate changes going forward until the time we review them.
well, yeah, each, so was it for the next 2 years? So
$12
this year
has to go up
to 13, and then to 14, then 15.
Right.
But, yeah,
So that's the only factor, but then it might also have to do the top wage change too, because some of them are like, they're only at $2 a pack from what they are now, so, I mean, the top wage should be also possibly changed on some of the positions.
And that might be our whole meeting discussion.
Yeah.
that might, yeah,
That might take us an entire meeting. And if that is the case,
that might be a December meeting.
2 weeks.
could be.
It has to be, the next meeting has to be in by the 27th.
Well, no, but I'm saying like with
Some of our
salary,
time charges. yeah.
if we're not necessarily planning salary increases aside from what needs to be done, then we'll factor those in. And then, yeah.
We did just hear that there's some wiggle room with the
Yeah.
numbers for a bit.
Yeah, as long as we have the,
Because Bill asked that question specifically, and Mary and you said, yes, there was room,
There's a
right?
whole
Correct?
series of,
Yeah, yes, we've got some
checks and
time.
balances and.
Right.
things that have
We've
to
got
go.
some time.
Right, okay.
town administrator, board of selectmen,
Exactly.
finance committee before it
We
gets.
have-
Before it gets finalized in January. At the end of January.
Fourth that was supposed to
We
happen.
just heard that the final number needs to be done by January, and between now and then, there is some wiggle room, correct?
Yeah.
Am I correct in my understanding of this?
But there's a meeting that we have as there's a rec commission's meeting at 4 o'clock on December 4th. That has to do with the budget.
The what commission? Oh, to the finance committee, is it?
No, it's not.
That's where, I think where I meet with Mary and Todd to go over the budget stuff.
Okay, and at that time, we will get more specific final figures, but still the deadline is January.
Yeah, that's what Mary has put.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have some time for that.
Before the town administrator makes a recommendation.
Exactly. And we don't, exactly. So January 20th was the final date. 28th?
I administer a budget recommendation to the selectmen and finance.
Okay, so moving on. The warrants,
Those
you should pass it
are
around?
making their rounds.
Okay.
Do we just vote on this?
No, they're paid, they're just for our review,
Okay.
in case we have any questions, like I had that question on the septic, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, we don't have any more septic stuff in there, which is.
Well, praise God.
Yeah.
Okay, miscellaneous correspondence, is there any?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we talking about anything?
Yes.
Did you find out about the name, Kiwanee.com?
I have the info, I just haven't given them my card yet.
Okay, how much is it? Do you know?
It's for the year, it's $18 and change.
Okay, on that note, this was something I
Because
was
that's
going
coming up for, that's.
Yeah, we've got
expiring.
till,
Yeah.
next week. I think we got till the 11th.
Yeah. so-
November?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
next
If you
week.
can, if you wanna
Okay.
pay it, I'll pay it and hand in the,
Okay,
thing.
that being said, when you do discuss with Mary and Todd, we can't be having people using their personal credit cards anymore for this. So they need to issue us something.
Well, they can't, because I asked Jeannie and the town doesn't have any credit cards, and they're not gonna apply for one for us. It has, so when I talk to Jeannie, it has to go under a specific person because they have to use their social security number.
Then,
And I don't think anybody that wants to volunteer that. Because essentially what would happen is if it's a town credit card, but the bill goes missing, they come in for the person who's,
then we need to make this a discussion with the finance committee and with them, because no other town department has to pay for their marketing, through a personal credit card.
yeah, I mean, maybe there's a way to input it into the budget so that the money's there and then it's
But
released.
yet, maybe we get a prepaid credit card,
Maybe
okay?
we can do like a warrant where it's
Correct.
allowing for a $100
Like a petty
prepaid
cash?
Visa, or, probably similar to like a,
If we can put it in under a marketing budget of, for the website, for whatever it costs per year, $20 a year
Yeah.
to maintain the website and any other websites, we purchase prepaid cards for that.
So in the interim, can we do it so we don't lose it?
yeah, I'm
Right.
gonna do it on the
For
Thursday.
now, I'm talking, I want everything a year in advance. We are going, in the next meeting, we are going to set the calendar for the next Halloween thing, for the next cornhole. We're
After
gonna
budget.
discuss marketing.
After budget.
Yes, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
there's no more
Let's
this
get it
last
done.
minute.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be
Okay.
way in advance.
Yeah, because I wanna say the 4 or 5 domains, I don't think anything else aside from this was due this year.
Yeah.
I think then there's maybe 1 or 2 due in
There's
2020.
official
and there's a-
Kiwanee.com and Kiwanee.net.
Okay, so for those, we will handle it the way we've been with your credit card, and thank you for doing that, we appreciate that. And
then
in the future, please tell Todd that that's one of our suggestions on how we plan on handling it and see how he feels. about it.
Yeah, I'll talk to Todd and I'll ask Jeannie, because that's not something I thought I was doing a prepaid thing and trying to do it like a warrant, so maybe that's an avenue.
I think that would be a better avenue than having somebody's credit card
Oh, it's
personally attached, okay?
I would agree.
All right, so any other miscellaneous correspondence?
Time clock.
Time clock.
Time clock, so Dan Brown, came out and looked. He just wants to get the blessing, so we're looking at putting it under where the actual alarm panel is because he can tap into the electrical that's already there. He didn't give me an exact price, but he said, once the commission gives me the blessing to do it there.
Around?
probably a couple $100, but let me find specifically, because he said before I even, quote, he's like, I wanna know that that is a good location for it before I start.
I believe it is a good location because we can always put some sort of photograph there to cover it up. Then
Well, you
the
don't
care-
even, because of the way you come in.
It's so hidden.
Yeah,
And no one's really looking at that eye level anyway, and this way the caretakers come in, they go into the doorway, and they're out.
Yeah.
So,
Can we make a motion with a dollar amount, so we just get this off the ground?
absolutely. Would anyone like to make a motion to place,
I'd like to make a motion to put Heidi and Brown for no more than $600 to install a time clock,
and hopefully much less,
and much less, but electricians are not $30 an hour, so we're probably looking at 2 to 4 hours roughly,
okay,
so.
I second that.
okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Okay, so he has our permission, once you get the quote, just shoot me an
as
email.
long as it's within that range, if it will send.
Shoot me an email.
And it'll come back to the 18th, then they'll get.
So by our next meeting, it should be hopefully done. Okay, anything else under miscellaneous correspondence?
The website, the sidebar, we have to change that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
If you,
it's still got the cornhole.
I'll
and the
gladly do it
Halloween
if you don't wanna do it, I can do
stuff.
it.
If you get the chance, I can do it tomorrow,
I'll do it tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put the Julie's event coming up. What do you want on the sidebar?
The next event,
Next event? Okay,
so that's the comedy night, correct?
comedy that.
Okay,
Yeah, so there's
Anything else coming
pictures
up?
of it that have already been shared to the Facebook page, so you
Okay.
can probably just
Grab them off that.
click it and save it,
Yeah.
and then just throw it in there.
Will do.
okay. Have there been pictures up of you receiving your award for the cornhole or whatever?
I got the Halloween stuff up, I didn't put the cornhole pictures up yet.
Okay,
I figured that Halloween was more important, and we
Okay.
had more pictures from it,
but
so,
let's just inundate it with.
yeah, so I'll get the cornhole stuff up too, but.
Requested a nice layout on page 11,
No.
of the camp and everything in here.
How about the Cranberry Cove page? Is Emma still an admin on there on that?
She is, but she has requested that she be taken off as an
Yeah, I
admin,
can take her out.
Take her out.
okay?
And the same with like with her Cranberry Cove email and all that, there hasn't been anything coming in, but everything's directed to me in the event something goes to her.
How about the wedding wire emails? Those are coming in too, I think, Lon. She's
Yes.
not here anymore, right?
No, so we'll have to probably talk to Ryan about getting those forwarded to me.
And can that be
too.
done this week?
Yeah, I'll call him tomorrow.
I mean, I can just call
So,
Ashley and have her.
Yeah, just make
change
a
it.
list of everything we're
You want
discussing
it sent
here.
over to you? I mean, I can just call Ashley at wedding wire, tell her to change it in the back end
Yeah, for now,
for now, yeah?
have her still send it to Lon and CC me,
Okay.
and as of 2 weeks from now, just tell her to take Lon.
Okay,
Because I forget what Lon's last official day is.
Supposed to be the 12th, she's supposed to start with conservation.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
just, yeah,
The
have
last
that-
day here is the 8th.
Okay.
using in nature, should we take that off the .com page too?
Yep, we haven't done anything with them,
Let's
they
take
have
them
been
out.
requesting, so.
Yeah, I mean, he floated in here a couple months ago and floated back out. I don't know if
You
he's.
can go float somewhere else.
Okay.
Okay,
Is
Now-
his equipment still here? Because we had his drums and stuff.
I believe he picked all those up.
yeah, I could have sworn
All right.
with that.
So, and since we talked about the music, I may have found somebody that can do that similarly. So we might be able to bring it,
That would be wonderful.
um,
Can you also start reaching out for paddleboarding for next year?
Oh, God, you just
I can.
I would like to. And, okay, so anything else under miscellaneous correspondence?
Fiber progress with the internet, any update on that?
I've only gotten emails that they've started the project, but nothing to say when exactly they'll get to us. We're on the tail end of it, so they have started. It's just a matter of them getting to us through the project.
So how about the trees? Any-
The trees, nothing, because as of now, the tree warden is still not back. So I don't know if it's, if I could reach out to Highway or see if I'm able to intercede, and I believe they were gonna be working with Newcomb. I don't know if,
They are.
okay, so I don't know if I'm allowed to just reach out and see if we can schedule that. That's literally supposed to go through.
Are these emergency?
Well, can we at least find out if they're
Yeah.
scheduling it or if you're scheduling it?
Yeah, if I'm allowed to kind of intercede and take over that, I'll see if we can get them working. I just didn't want to say,
I'd also like to ask, Did those big things of concrete get moved out of the parking lot now?
Not that I noticed.
Okay, so maybe we could ask them about that too.
Highway?
Highway,
So I've asked, highway won't do it.
okay,
I don't think,
right, because they don't know where to,
cause there's, yeah, to have to get rid of them,
Right.
they get stuck with the fee and so they'll get them.
so we need to get rid of those.
So one suggestion that was brought up by Phil Clements is that, and we probably have to break them up a little bit, but we could essentially move them somewhere else and use it almost as fill, so we could create
Yeah,
like a hill with it or something. And so maybe tie that into, if we're gonna do some sort of like playground or something, we could use the concrete kind of as a fill to create like a little bit of a rolling hill or something and do this
get
landscape.
a backhoe and bury them, that's what most people do.
We could do that too, we just, as long as we're 100 feet away from any sort of water source, I think we're fine with doing that.
But do we have the equipment to move it, because we would still need somebody else's equipment?
You can rent a backhoe.
What, I think in the interest, if we were gonna just, if we were gonna bury it, we may be able to get highway to help us there, it's just, I know when I talked to them, it was not in the cards to have them come pick it up and then dispose of it on our behalf.
Can
But-
you
Yes.
call them and ask them about that one? Okay. And
Fishing teams.
commission teams, Cove, we don't need to have anything to discuss. Facilities?
Cabin footings, I spoke to Gordon Lincoln and Bob, the building inspector.
Yep.
He has spoken with Gordon, we're talking about doing things, maybe 3 or 4 cabins within the interior and on the north end, and there's some discussion back and forth as to what we can do code-wise as far as the footings. So I'll get more information on that
Okay.
from Gordon, because he brought a plan to the building inspector, he was happy with it, and we could take a different direction.
Okay.
So that's it on that.
How many cabins are having footings issues?
There's a ton, I said, just do whatever we can do for $10,000.
Okay, we'll take it one whack at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
The roof is in work, there's a lot of discussion about prevailing wage and what the language is.
I have something to add to that.
Because I was gonna talk to Chris about
I
that.
spoke with him today.
And what did he say?
Okay, so, and I spoke with Mary about it as well, and so it's all been okay. He's putting together a bid, a written estimate, he's going to do prevailing wage, he can be out here next week with his guys and take care of everything that was on the written estimate from the previous guy that did not want to go through the prevailing wage
Chris can do
process.
all that?
Yes,
Including the masonry?
yes. He has guys on his crew that can do it. He's going to write an estimate exactly like that
Yeah.
one, because Mary requested that. She
Yeah.
said as long as we've gotten 2 to 3 prices,
Yeah.
and because we are in a time crunch with the winter coming, and that covers us. So his is gonna cost about the same,
Okay.
okay? So Chris should be getting in touch with you, and he said he would be able to start the roof process next week.
Okay, is that something still that just for safety measure, just vote it and approve it and
Yep.
in that way?
I'm just checking to make sure the date, because he texted me today. And, okay. He could get in there later this week with his day crew. His night crew is busy at Stop and Shops. So he's got a day crew.
The one thing we have to look at, it's either Fridays that we do have a wedding this weekend.
Okay,
So-
then I'm gonna put that on you to reach out to him and schedule that, okay?
Sure.
So, scheduling the roof. I also asked him about the stove, and you're going to send me an email shortly, either sometime this week, about the building code and our options with the stove?
Yeah, once I hear back from the plumbing and gas inspector,
Correct.
so I've got a line up to him.
And if that can get done, then Chris can come in and do that as well, if we need to replace parts or whatever, and I will have him contact John Hammett as far as parts and such, because John can't do it. Okay?
So I'm
Sounds
talking just the pilot assembly first before we delve deeper.
Well,
into
there's some question about if we get a new stove, then we have to update everything.
Including the ESO.
And everything that's the cost of the project that we don't have the money for right now, however, that could go on capital improvement. And we should put that on the matrix in our budget, whether it's this year, next year, whatever. I'd like it starting this year, and then maybe, you know, if it carries over, whatever, at least we've done our part and put it on there. And then, if we can repair the stove, we may not have to adhere to all of the new things. So I just want it in writing somewhere from the building inspector, so we have it for our records. That's all I'm saying. And then, if that's the case, then Chris said he and his guys could probably come in and do that work as well.
Cool.
Okay.
Yes, he's a, yes.
He has some contractors, yeah, he has people that he works with that do everything.
So yeah, we can look at what we've already got on the matrix, we can push a lot of these back.
Yeah,
And
and
make that-
the stove is a priority, and
Yeah.
electrical work is the next one.
Oh boy.
Okay? The roof, the stove, and the electrical work, those are the three top priorities. So, I'm sorry?
The electrical should go on the matrix.
That's what I just said, those three things. Okay, moving on. Anything else for facilities? How about media?
What is the date for the wedding show, and has that been approved by the Board of Selectmen?
The one about.
I know it's in March, I don't know the definitive date, and I don't know if it has made it to the agenda yet or not.
Okay, so Leo has approval
The wedding
and
was,
dates.
We approved it.
You approved it, okay, do you remember the date, by any chance?
For that,
I can ask Kelly.
it's March, I,
it was March something, yeah.
Okay, so.
I'm sure Lon's got it on her thing, so.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else under media? Did you add more pictures like your lady suggested? So
I
we
don't have
need,
the login to, who's got the login to Wedding Wire?
well, I thought we were going to add you into that.
We can, I don't have it either, so.
So Lon has it.
So
Yeah.
add
Get that
John.
from Lon.
Yeah.
Any
Wedding Wire.
logins for anything, get from Lon. Like, cause she's leaving, so for like GoDaddy, you have that, you have that
I
one,
have
right?
that one.
Okay, so John, you need to be added to that.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else under media? No, moving on, policies and administration, I think.
Oh,
that's-
on the media.
Okay,
Does Netflix pay us?
Oh, yeah?
Good, okay.
Oh, yeah.
okay, so, policies and administration,
Can I ask what the difference is between policies and administration and policies and procedures? Is that redundant?
Policies are supposed to be taken out, not added to administration. Administration was kind of a blanket.
okay, so in the
Policies.
future, we'll just have administration.
Right, administration.
And on the second meeting of the month, we will have, budget.
Yes, I think it just was in there from,
Yep.
but yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing there. Okay, and policies and procedures were already discussed, I think.
No, we didn't do that.
Kind of, but, I mean,
You gotta pass over this.
Can I,
everybody's,
can I make a suggestion for these? I feel like, so there's three here. There's policies and procedures, business plan, serve safe workshop. I don't know that those are, I have information on serve safe.
Right.
Is there any way we could table these and focus on them
Yes.
as separate? Let's table them.
Yes, everybody got a copy of the policies and procedures as written out by town council, correct?
Mhm.
That's right.
Okay,
and tonight, everybody has the ones from Ryan and the ones from town council.
okay.
So we can, I guess, at our leisure, go through and.
That's a whole separate meeting.
Yeah. it's
Can
another
we, can
meeting, yeah, you
we
can't-
save paper and just combine all of them and put them in a separate pile so we can attend to them?
I think you should read them
I
offline.
mean, I tried to save as much paper by making
Are we gonna
them,
We
make
make way too
another
many
photocopy?
copies.
I mean, we're gonna make another photocopy of
No,
this?
we're not making another photocopy of anything.
It's like,
well, here's the thing, I figured if I didn't print them out and give them to everybody, I would've got. Yeah.
because, but you know what, if we table this,
I think for the edits.
a month from now, you're gonna have to do the same thing, what I'm trying to say. is-
Yeah, no, everybody hold on to those.
Can we hold on, can we make a concentrated effort to hold
Okay,
on to these?
so at the next meeting, this will not be able to be discussed because we are going to discuss budget. And this is a whole meeting on itself. So this will have to be the first meeting in December.
Okay, that's a good plan. So can everybody hold on to these papers, already business plan, and the revised policies and procedures? Can we all hold on?
And there is a paper shortage in the world, so we need to,
And since we're talking about taking down trees and replanting them, we should.
yes.
Be nice if we practice what
I'm
we
just
preach.
trying to see when our December meetings are. Okay,
Should we
so the 18th.
throw those out there now?
So I would like to, I think December 2nd. It's
Day is
the
it?
first Monday,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay?
Diane, did you wanna, take our next couple of meetings being the 18th, cause you had discussed that it's getting difficult for some people to get here at 6. Did you wanna push to 6:15 or 6:30?
The 18th, just remember the 18th, I will not be here.
On November 18th,
Yeah.
okay?
I mean, I don't know what's happening, doesn't matter to me, but I know you said that you were having a hard time, I didn't know, you might be having a hard time going from the Cape half the time.
If we're pulling a bunch of stuff off the agenda, then we can still probably get things done in a timely manner.
Just 2 hours, that's
But-
right, we need to focus on a 2-hour.
I wouldn't even want to.
I was gonna say, if we can start at 6:30, be done by 7:30, that'd be great. If it goes till 8,
Can I at least push for 6:15?
oh yeah,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
it.
So we're gonna make it.
It's just until I get, this
So that would be the
practical and
18th.
certification done, I need
December
just that few extra
Second.
minutes for travel time.
December.
You going, November 16th, 18th, you wanna change the time to 6:15, right?
Yes, please.
We have a motion?
Would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to change the time on November 18th from 6 to 6:15.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Right.
Aye, okay, thank you, Brian, for doing that.
Okay,
So on the 2nd, and then, what do we have?
So on the 2nd, we're just going to discuss policies, procedures, business plan. Can we also throw a little bit of marketing in there, which is gonna be part of the business plan? But can we talk about marketing in that?
Well, that'll be part of the business plan,
Okay.
you know,
A
you'll
big
just have
chunk
to
of it.
remember that, I cannot meet on the 16th, and then we're getting into Christmas. So, if you wanna do 2 weeks in a row, the 2nd and the 9th, but December's a really jam-packed month, can we just have one meeting?
I think we need to have.
Can we go with the second?
We're just gonna go with the 2nd.
Yeah.
So let's go with the second, so we'll do, on the 18th, we'll do that budget update. I don't know that it'll change that much, but I can try to have something for December 2nd, but I don't think it's gonna change that much, only because it's.
Right, but we still have until January 28th for the final numbers.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying that, that monthly,
Expenditures
Yeah.
and,
so I mean, we could do it the 18th and the 2nd, I don't know that there's gonna be much of a difference, but if we wanna make sure every month.
Right, for December, we won't have it, because on the 2nd, I would like to go over the policies and procedures,
Beautiful.
okay?
and the
Business plan.
business plan.
Right, and that's plenty for one meeting.
Yeah,
That's all that's going to be on the
That's
agenda.
crucial, I mean.
You know what? Rome wasn't built in a day, and this place isn't gonna be saved in a day.
Very
Okay?
true.
Moving on,
Hail Caesar? No.
sorry. Cop an attitude here, I need to stop.
Okay, what,
Okay, Serve Safe Workshop, did you get certified?
Yes.
You're all done.
Oh, you're all done? Oh.
Okay,
As a manager?
the business,
Wait a minute,
We tabled
are we,
business.
so I'm going to get rid of that information from Liz Petrowski then.
yes, some of us may have wanted to get Serve Safe, so if she wants to eventually run a class like that for us, that would be nice.
Oh, okay, no, she had two, she had the manager thing, and then she had just workers.
Food handler?
Food-
Which, I've
We
got the
would be-
manager, so you guys can just do the work.
We would want a food handlers one, so you can ask her about that.
And that one is just you go on and you do the questions and you do it
It's
to your tax.
less, right, it's
Yeah, it's
less
not
than
a
running
tax
in
pay.
one evening.
Right, that's what she said, it's $40 that she can run it in one evening, but can we table that as well?
Yes, I'd like to table until after the first of the year.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's do
Okay.
that.
And there's nothing that needs to be done on the cove except for the docks, which I spoke to Chris about. He has been out to look at them. We do not need to take them out of the water. Chris bought a tool that will detach them where they need to be detached so that they can float on the coasts. So if the ice comes in, they will float up, okay?
What's he charging us for that?
He wasn't going to charge us.
That was nice of him. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that
Question
was.
about that, I know the PTO does the polar plunge, I don't know where they do it, because I've never
It-
attended it.
Right.
Is that gonna get in their way, or is that?
No, because of where it's gonna be float, they're gonna be doing it in that
Inside
section.
the U, however, we floated them last year and they did like that better.
Yeah,
But I think for safety purposes as well, it's better to keep them where they are, just because there were kids playing hockey there, which is wonderful, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm all for
We
it.
can't
but
sanction
again,
that,
if some- Right, we can't sanction, but if somebody gets hurt, like, it's harder to play hockey with the sand, you know, nearby, so. I think they're just gonna stay where they're at. He said he's gonna take care of it, he's gonna take the kicks and the ladders out. We just need to make sure that we have caretakers here to show him where to store them.
okay, and now with the anchors, so the anchors are gonna stay,
They are.
and then he'll be able to reattach them in the summer?
Yes, because
Okay.
he bought a specific tool, he spoke with the dock company themselves,
Okay,
and I
so I
guess.
will email them, because they emailed me seeing if, they're like, we have time this week, so I
No,
will
we're
email them
not
and say.
paying them to do this.
That's, I'm happy to send that email.
So, you do need to reach out to Chris though and schedule this, and schedule some caretakers for help moving
Moving
the
this.
stuff into the boathouse or wherever it's going to be stored.
Okay, yeah, I, was it stored in there
I
last
think
year,
it
or
was
was
stored there.
everything's down there? Okay.
If it's easier to store them in there, I mean, I don't care about the water getting in, they're already in the water.
They're waterproof.
If it's easier, just leave them in there.
Yeah,
That's
I'll talk to the morning guys to see if we can fit all that stuff in there. I think
Yeah.
it's just,
But I want a committed date when
okay.
he's doing it.
So I will talk to them to make sure we can fit all the stuff in there, and then I'll reach out to Chris to say, okay, here's the plan, I'm gonna have these guys, and this is where we're gonna put it.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, and if he's not going to be here himself, please ask for the name of the person that is going to be here.
You mean if Chris is not gonna person? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, he was here with another gentleman, I can't think of his name,
Right.
but I think they work in conjunction with each
Yep.
other, so.
Okay? So that is the docks. Did we get MS Cove end year report, year-end report?
No.
You
No.
can't do the budget without it.
Okay.
Well, we still have the numbers for the Cove, we just don't have our 3-year comparison.
I'm sorry?
We still have like the Cove revenues now, we just
We
don't
just don't
have
have the comparison.
we don't have the very specifics of, here's what the day passes for the 3 years. We do have her final year report, which showed what it was, but.
Okay, so we'll reach out one more time, but if it's a lost cause, then it's a lost cause, and
Why
I'm
don't
not
we
going
just
to
go
vote
with
on it.
this year because we've changed so many programs, and
Right.
that would be more accurate.
So, That's our next, right, exactly, it'll be accurate, right.
Well, as a board of selectmen, I would like to see the last 3 years for a business plan. Just so you guys know, that's what I'll be looking at, is I want 3 years back, and then what you're thinking that's going to come in the next couple of years. That's what I'll be, I mean, that's what I'm going to be
And
asking
we would
for.
like it, but I can't pull it out of thin air, so if she
Right.
doesn't send it to us, then that's not on us.
Right, well, I'm just, that's what I'll be asking for at my.
That's
meeting.
fine.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I
Because
said, you
we
can
can-
ask, but I can't get blood from a stone.
Right,
So,
I mean, I guess this winter I can do it because I'll have time, but, I mean, we have the slew of info, it's gonna be the forensics of putting it all together.
again, let's just see if she has it.
What are you specifically looking for? What do you want to see, I guess, in those? I mean, I understand, you know, the numbers, but what's important, I guess?
right, so what I'll be asking for is, you know, I mean, is it possible to capture the last 3 years of attendance? How much revenue did we bring in? How much did we
How many
expend?
passes?
You know, I mean, that's all I'm asking, I mean, that's all I'm looking for, because that's, I think it's gonna be more helpful for the commission than for, you know, I mean, than the board of selectmen.
So
I think
you're
that's a good
looking
way to
Mhm.
capture a trend.
Right.
Is there a trend going up? Is there a decrease in the trend?
So you're looking for day passes, season passes, swim lessons, that whole break?
Yeah, whatever you can pull out, you know,
With
it's great.
mitigating factors such as weather and the timing when we hired lifeguards, training lifeguards, all of that.
Yeah,
Because all of that's gonna happen much earlier this year. So after the first of the year,
We gotta work on
which
that.
I said we would
We've got to.
table the serve safe workshop until after the first of the year. The first thing that's happening first of the year is we're gonna start
Advertising,
advertising the Cove.
when they come
And
back.
advertising that and having the, you know, rates in place,
Programs.
applications, swim lessons, everything. So we need to have a beach director or an idea of an accepted position. Someone
Yeah,
who will
when do
accept
we-
it.
when can we put that out there?
We put it out whenever we want.
Whenever?
Yeah, I say we
I
start.
mean, I thought it was in February.
February.
February,
Yeah, February.
so it has to be set by January.
Right.
So
So
that's-
everything, we'll have
Summer
everything in
pro-
motion.
Any summer
Yeah.
programming needs to be decided on in January so that we can have,
It needs to go out in March. I
Right.
gotta tell you, camp stuff goes out in March.
right, the parents make their
So
plans,
It has to be, that's our deadline.
right.
Yeah, apply for the WSIs and everything in February.
Exactly.
Do all of the advertising for that.
Yeah, I mean-
And if we need to hire somebody to start training people for WSIs, if we don't have enough, we need commitments from people that have worked,
That,
that are planning on coming back, and someone who's willing to take the beach director position. If not, then we need to hire, start advertising it. If Josh doesn't want it, or whoever else.
yeah, I know Emma, I'll look, I know Josh, and then,
She recommended two people,
yeah, and I know, I can't think of the other, it was like Jonathan or something like that, or
but she had a girl on there too. So I thought,
Yeah.
Abigail, or,
I
I don't know.
can't remember.
I have the packet, because that's what I use to
So
find out
just,
they want to kind of, so.
we'll have 2 meetings in January. So, and keep in mind, we discussed the budget at the second meeting. Shouldn't be a huge discussion, but
I think the
Well,
code,
actually,
I think, if we're gonna follow this trend, the code should be one full-on meeting with all those,
Right.
With all the different.
Yeah.
So those are our 2 January meetings, are the budget is due on the 28th, and the code,
Yeah,
and programming down there.
yeah.
So whether it's a full-on summer program, whether it's day things, movie things, whatever it is, we need a schedule,
That's a good plan.
okay?
And now with,
Joe?
so just in the day camps, I mean, we set those prices, correct?
If we are running them, and I mean, if you're not talking about hiring somebody out to run it,
Yeah,
if we're doing it, then you gotta have obviously a plan of what you want to run, how much staffing you'll need, what you're gonna pay them, days of the week, et cetera.
Can I, so that,
And we would set the price,
okay.
the price that it costing, obviously. we
Like,
don't
here's
have-
what it's gonna cost for the staff, so this is what we need
We
to
need
charge.
to charge per person, and we need a minimum of this many people to run it.
wait a minute, is that attached to the code?
To-
Isn't that something separate? Isn't that camp
That'll be like.
facilities?
Yes, that's the camp stuff up here, but down there too, if we're running anything down there. Like if we had somebody running,
Conversation.
like,
Because that's another revenue stream that we have to address later. In the cabin rentals, you guys are doing such a great job putting it together. I'd really love to see some camping going on there next summer. But I feel like that's another
Well, that's another.
That's a whole other, that's a revenue stream that we need to touch. If we're gonna spend the money on these cabins, there better be some camping going on there.
right, we need activities going on up here, that's what he was talking
Well,
about.
right.
But is that attached to code?
I'm
I
sorry?
wanted to be separate from.
Yep, okay, let's bring it back in,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
On the code, okay, we need to get the salaries of each person, like what the WSI gets paid, every person, so that we know how to work that budget. That's gonna be part of the budget, so.
Yeah, when I think.
Category with each budget,
I wanna say,
so.
Because it comes out as passes and everything else, it's like payroll, in other words, you'd have to get a sheet payroll, and that would tell you how much they make
Oh,
an
yeah.
hour.
yeah, I was gonna say, oh no, so we have, so it's all in the business plan, so it lays out what everybody gets paid. Now I can say specifically, like I didn't put in WSI and whatever, but like these rates, like the 1450 and the 16, I believe the 1450 is regular guard, 16 is WSI rate.
Correct.
Same with,
And the beach director, is her price there?
she's so the top one, the 1850.
That's the high end though, right?
That's,
Oh, that's the starting wage.
no, that's what you guys voted Emma up to this past
That's what we
year.
voted, considering the amount of hours and the responsibility.
Right.
Then there was
So-
a head lifeguard position,
So
so there's
we,
a differential for whoever they put into the head lifeguard if Emma wasn't there.
yeah, we don't necessarily need to have that as the starting rate next year.
No, we don't.
No,
Everything can start from scratch with whatever we want.
because everybody else in the potential
However-
people coming back are at 16, even if we bumped them to 17.
Wait, when's minimum wage going up? Isn't it this year, 2020?
July.
Yeah, but it's only the,
2020, or we got them?
only the people at 12 right now will be getting them.
Bumping up to 13.
And then next year, the 13s go to 14s, and then at that point, if anybody's at less than 15 that following year, they call it to be at least 15.
Okay, we'll discuss this further with the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to
Okay.
adjourn.
Hold on, one more thing, add library passes, that whole thing.
Oh, sorry.
And, yes, now you may make a motion.
15,
On the library pass part, we can deal with
We used
that
to
in
get a nickel an
February,
hour raise.
Okay.
January,
Every year
when
on
we
my
do the rest of it, because you're not gonna. do
Motion
it.
to adjourn. All in favor?
We do as well.
Yeah,
Make a motion to adjourn, all those in favor? Aye, thank you.
Beautiful.
Can I ask?